Hey, hi, hello, I'm Percy. Welcome back to my channel. How you guys doing? Good? Good. So glad. Love that for you. I have something really important I need to talk to you about. Okay? You see, I am an unironic Disney Descendants movie lover. I know. I started watching them in 2020 at the ripe young age of 24, and I just haven't looked back. I'm a huge fan of those movies. And I know, weird, odd it's a little bit different from my channel. If you're new here, hi, Percy, like I said. I'm an author. I wrote that, not the pumpkin, that. I write romance, we read books, we delve into reviews, we write. Yeah, that's what authors do. And so, talking about Disney Channel Descendants wasn't on my 2024 bingo card, I'm gonna be completely honest with you. But I love these movies, and this year, we finally got a new one called Descendants Rise of Red. Hence, the red. And it is the most successful Descendants movie and the most streamed movie on Disney Plus for like an opening. It's not an opening weekend if it's not in the theaters, but you know what I mean. But it's the most successful Descendants movie of all time. And it wasn't fucking good. Oh no, I wasn't gonna curse! Oh no, okay, anyway. I didn't like it. It just wasn't good. And I found that really depressing. And I didn't like it so much, I felt the need to write a 16-page script about it and set up a camera and do my makeup and do my hair. And now we're going to talk about it. Now, before we get started, I do want to mention, I'm looking at my script, okay? It's 16 pages, I'm not going to memorize it. And I want to make sure I get this all out. I put the effort in. I'm getting it all in here. Who is doing donuts? It's a Wednesday night. Anyway, before we super get into it, I do want to take a moment and say that I love the cast. I love the characters, I love the world that this is set in, and I don't want this to come across as like a hate video. I know I came in here with like a lot of energy, and that's just because I'm having a coffee at 8 o'clock at night, but I do want to get that point across if I get nothing else across. This is not a hate video. The cast specifically brought so much life to these characters that so desperately needed it. And the only reason why the movie is as successful as it is, I have a list, that's hard to say. I believe the only reason this movie is as successful as it is because the cast is so charming and they put their whole heart into their roles and they're so talented, they are so good. So I don't want anyone saying that like, oh, you just didn't like it because you're old, or you just didn't like it because you're a hater. No. I make this video because I love Descendants so much. So if you're new here, hi, I'm Percy. I am an author with a bachelor's degree in performing arts. So if there's one thing that I know, it is storytelling. If there's one thing that I love, it is storytelling. And on this channel, we usually do book reviews, reading challenges. We're doing a series right now where we are writing my second novel from beginning to end, from conception to editing to publishing. I'm taking you along the journey with you. So this is off-brand for me, all this to say. But let me have this, okay? We're here for vibes. We're hanging out. This is girly talk time, okay? Okay, thank you. I don't know why I feel the need to justify me doing this video. Anyway, the first half of this video is going to be chock full of spoilers. We're going to be walking through the entire movie, beginning to end. I'm going to tell you what works, what didn't work. And then in the second half of the video, we're going to play in the sandbox. And I'm going to tell you what I think should have happened or how this could have worked. It's a segment I'm calling the story archeologist. But if that's the only part you're interested in, chapters down below for your convenience. Okay, thanks. And so, Rise of Red. Thus, the red sweater. I also did blue, they look kind of purple, but blue eye sparklies for Chloe. And then I was going to do I have two little pigtails in. I was going to do the rose buns that Red has. Because I think that's like my favorite look of her, is having the two little rose buns. I love that. But it's 8 o'clock at night, and I washed my hair at 11, and it's still damp. I love y'all, but it is not worth creasing my hair over for the next week. You know? You feel me? You feel me? Like, it's just not worth it. And one last thing to get out of the way, I'm so sorry. If you see me playing around with this string, I am going to be crocheting while I do this video. Because I am a chronic pain girly. I've had a huge flare-up, that's why this video is taking me 3 weeks to do. And I'm better now. I'm on the back half. But chronic pain behaves in your body differently than acute pain, like an injury or, something going wrong. So nervous system fires off flares for no reason. And so calming down the flares, telling my body, hey, we're safe, we're chill, we're cool, or there's no need to be in pain. Crocheting is a real fun, just simple way of me being mindful in my body and keeping my nervous system calm and helping me keep my pain levels down. So, all this to say, it's my video and I can crochet if I want to. But I did do blue to be in theme. Could I have gone out and bought a pastel blue? Yes. Did I? No. Use what you have. So, Rise of Red. Confused by the title, personally. I don't understand why it's called Rise of Red. I'll be completely honest with you. It doesn't make sense to me. Even now. Rise to what? Where is she rising to? Anyway, so we start off this Descendants movie like every other with opening narration, except this time it's from Uma. If you don't know the Descendants lore, this isn't going to be a good video for you. I'll try to fill you in with the most minimal amount of effort possible, but this is already going to be a long video. Uma is a former villain. She was the villain in movie 2. She's the daughter of Ursula, so she's an octopus, and she's a pirate. And in movie 3, she joined forces with our heroes, and so now she's a hero. That's relevant later, and I'll tell you why. Later. But anyway, so Uma's introducing us to the story. Love China. She's so good in this role. Oh my, mwah. And she seems to have had fun coming back for the role, which, good for her. So yeah. So Uma tells us that since Auradon has now joined forces with the Isle of the Lost... This sounds crazy. Auradon is the kingdom where this takes place. It's Beast Kingdom with Belle, lots of royals and princes and princesses. Isle of the Lost, where all the villains were put to starve for 20 years. Anyway, they're now friends, and they've joined forces. And because of that, now our original cast from movies 1, 2, and 3 are off in the wind, having new adventures. So she says Ben, Mal, Evie, and Jay are all off to forge alliances with neighboring kingdoms and to barter peace with other kingdoms. And this is because the original actors actually didn't feel right about coming back to reprise their roles in this movie since the passing of the late Cameron Boyce, who played Carlos. Many people who worked on the original 3 movies didn't want to come back since his passing, which personally I respect. From an outsider's perspective, looking in, again, I'm a stranger, I don't know these people, but from what was presented to us, they did all seem very close. And yeah, they've been very vocal for a long time since his passing. They're like, it's not right, we're not touching it ever again. Which, if they had come back, it wouldn't have felt right. I'll be completely honest with you. Carlos he's such an important character. And Cameron meant a lot to people. So I personally respect it, and yeah. But we're actually going to touch on that in just a second. But anyway, we're told that they're off on new adventures, doing their own thing, and that fairy godmother, she was originally the principal of Auradon Prep, she's now going to go be president of Auradon University, which we have never heard of before. Feels very Halloween Town 3, Halloween Town University, if you know what I mean. Very much like, no, of course there's always been a university around the corner. What are you talking about? You're the crazy one for not knowing it wasn't there. But whatever. She's leaving. Uma's now taking her place as the new principal. And Uma tells us that she was left in charge of Auradon by Ben and Mal, specifically. Mal left her in charge to keep things, to liven things up. So if the king and queen are out of town, if you're the principal, you're also in charge of the kingdom? That's weird. That doesn't make sense. And what happened to, the former king? Because the former king also, he's not dead. Ben was crowned king at 16. We don't know why. He just was. But, the king beast, what's his name? Doesn't matter. King Beast is still around. He's still alive. I don't know why he's not in charge. Even if they just said that, oh yeah, no, he's taking over the crown and Uma's taking care of the school. Nope. Weird choice, all around. But with Uma in charge, she says her first course of action, in the spirit of forging alliances, is opening the doors of Auradon Prep to Wonderland, to Princess Red, specifically. To which Fairy Godmother is like, oh dear God, no. To which Uma dramatically looks at the portrait of Carlos on the wall, teary-eyed, looks almost dead into camera, and says, it's not for me, then for him. It's what Carlos would have wanted. And I'm not gonna lie, she ate on that delivery. Like, she put her whole heart into that. Now, Carlos, okay? I'm putting this down. Now, with Carlos, I've heard a few split decisions of what people wanted them to do with the character since the passing of Cameron Boyce. Of whether they should have kept Carlos alive or not at all. In which the character of Carlos was implied to have been passed years ago in an animated short that they did, and where the characters just reminisce on how much they miss him and they're sad that he can't be there. That's all we got. Which, personally, when I wrote the script, I was torn. I think I'm less torn now. But I'm going to read you my script anyway. At first, I appreciated the notion that no one could replace Carlos. It felt almost as if they were saying, no one could take his place and we would not try. The void he left is too important to even try to fill. He gets a beautiful portrait on the wall where he gets to be remembered, which is lovely. And personally, I really like that, and I think that that is the right move. Then, I heard someone say that why not let Carlos have a happy ending? You know, don't recast, don't try to fill the void. Just in a line, say that him and Jane are off having their happily ever after elsewhere and putting him to rest that way. And I think that would have been a very beautiful tribute of where we are letting the character retire happily and have a happily ever after. I think that feels very in line with like the Disney fairy tale. And so you see why I was torn originally. Now thinking back, I do think letting Carlos have and again, this is if they are continuing. This made them the most money ever. Of course they're continuing the series. But as long as it's canon that he will always have a place on the wall, then I'm okay with it. Cameron Boyce was such a joy. He was such a joy to watch perform. He was so lovely. If you have not seen the original Descendants movies, I would genuinely recommend it. He steals the show whenever he's on screen. It's lovely. He's just so fun to watch. He's so good. And so if that is canon, that he will permanently have a space for him on the wall for the rest of the Descendants films, then I'm fine with it. I'm fine. I think that's lovely. I think that's beautiful. They've picked a stunning photo of him, honestly. And honestly, the only thing that matters is that those who loved him feel like he is being honored in this piece of media that is a huge part of his legacy. It's not the only part of his legacy. He did a lot of good. I am going to put the Cameron Boyce Foundation down in the description if you do want to read up more on him and his condition and all the good he has put into this world. That's going to be top line of the description. But all that matters at the end of the day is that those who loved him, those who knew him, are happy with how he was honored. And I hope that is the case. Will we ever know for sure? I don't know. But that is what I hope for. I hope that they checked, you know? Now that being said, with all due respect to the character of Carlos, he would not have said this. He wouldn't have. He just wouldn't have. Evie was always the one who was championing unity and solidarity and bringing the bridge down and bringing over more VK kids. She was the one who was always vocal about it's such a small thing that does not matter. Oh my god. But Disney, you can't pull over the wool of my eyes, Disney. No. You can't just take someone else's character motivation and put it on someone just because they died. Personally, I would have accepted if they made the joke that Carlos always had a soft spot for strays. Then it would have worked for me. I'm laughing so I'm uncomfortable. And I say that as a joke, but I think in Descendants 3 he has the Carlos house for runaways or for strays or something along those lines. So I think that could have worked. That could have been a moment for respect, love, and a little bit of levity all at the same time. I feel so bad critiquing this part. Oh my, can you tell I'm uncomfortable? Anyway, we're leaving it there. I think China had a beautiful moment. She was lovely. She had teary eyes and... Anyway. Swish, swash, swoosh. Over the hill and down the rabbit hole, we go to Wonderland. And I'm a huge fan of this Wonderland, personally. I love the aesthetic. It has this, blacklight, warm neon tone to it. So, think magenta, more acidy green, reds, yellows. I'm a huge fan, personally. I think that it feels different enough from every other Wonderland that we have seen from Disney, but it still feels so distinctly Wonderland. It's whimsical, it's fun, there's mushrooms. I don't know why the mushrooms were important to me, but they are. It adds to the whimsy. But yeah, I'm a huge, huge fan. And we open with our first song of the movie, simply titled Red. And this song bangs. I wasn't sure if I was gonna like it. Like, from first listen, I was like, ooh, I'm vibing, but do I actually like it? I'm not sure. But the second and third time around, I watched this movie too many times to write this script. This has, like, slowly climbed its way up to, like, one of my favorite songs. I really like this song. And I think part of it is because it has, like, my favorite lyric from the movie, which, take that information as you will. Slipping through the shadows like I'm ultraviolet. Got a devil on my shoulder, but it won't be quiet. I just really like that line. I just think it does a great job of, like, introducing you to the character with the fewest amount of words possible. And it scratches my brain. It just does. It's, like, one of the first lines we hear Red say, and it's like, oh, I see you. I know you, suddenly. And that can't be said with the rest of the lyrics. A lot of the lyrics in this movie I did not like at all. Personally, I think it's not my biggest problem with the movie, but it's one of them. If I had to, like, make a list, the lyrics is, like, really high on that list. The lyrics of this movie are just not good. But anyway, I really enjoy the character of Red. I don't like that her birth name is Red, personally, but we'll touch on that later. I'm on a path of destruction. They don't think I'm on one. Turn it up, make what's work, and then it make like fireworks. Anyway, sorry. But I like her. I like Red, and I think Kylie Chantrell, I hope I'm saying that right, she brings a lot to this character. It, like, specifically this scene where she does, like, this little cross-eyed thing, like, it's just cute. She's cute and she's lively, and she just feels very at home in this type of character. She's personable. You like her from the second she's on screen, and that's a success in my book. I think they did a really good job with, like, her specifically. That being said, I will say I am still unsure if this is supposed to be, like, a buddy duo lead situation, because the movie tells me yes and the marketing tells me no, but they both tell me that this should be an enemies to girlfriend situation, and somehow we're all wrong. Anyway, this entire song, she's causing a muck, she's being a menace to society, she's cutting her mother's roses, she's throwing paint on her portrait, she's ripping her portrait, and she's just causing a lot of havoc and, like, making the guards just have a bad day at work. But she runs away. She does get, like, snatched by, she does, like, get backed into a corner, and her friend / tutor / mentor / someone, Maddox, snatches her. Maddox had her, goes, mine, this is my friend. Which he does seem to, like, genuinely care about her. Which is why I'm like, a tutor? A friend? A mentor? Who are you? They won't tell us. But he cares about her. And because of that, he, like, hears her out when she's like, I'm a lost cause. Like, my mom just wants to make me just like her. And I don't want that. My entire life is being planned out for me. And he shows her his invention, the pocket watch. Which, unclear, it's implied that he invented this for her, like, as a gift for when she's older, but really unclear if that is, like, the actual meaning. But it's a magic pocket watch. It's a magic pocket watch. God, that's hard to say. That when you click it, it takes you back in time, back to the moment in time where you can get what your heart wishes for most. which sounds a little convoluted. I hear you, I get you. But personally, I actually really like this because I like the notion that magic can only take you so far. It can only take you to the moment. You still have to put in the effort to get what you desire most. You still have to work for it. And I quite like that. I like magic that costs things. Like, any superpower that requires, like, an equivalent physical strength to use. Oh, I love that. I eat that up. Mwah. And not only that, but I think it's a really nice detail to have in not just, like, a story in general, but, like, in a Disney movie. Because you know kids are gonna watch it, you know? And I will say, okay. Crochets down. I will say, if you are going to say, this is a kid's movie, don't think about it so hard, leave. The door's over there. Because, just because it's a kid's movie does not mean it is free critique, does not mean it doesn't need to be good, does not mean that there is still a standard to storytelling that should be met. Kids are not dumb. Kids are not stupid. You don't need to dumb down movies for kids. Period. I just need to put that out there. And with that being said, I do think there's a good thing to have in a movie you know kids are going to watch. You know what I mean? And not just for kids, but like for adults too. That you can get whatever your heart desires. You're always able to do that. There's no magic that's going to make that happen. You're in charge of that. I love that. I love that. Anyway, she steals the pocket watch, cut to Chloe. So Chloe is the daughter. She's the blue one. Blue. She is a lead in this, I promise. But Chloe is the daughter of Cinderella and Prince Charming. Not only that, but Brandy's Cinderella from the 90s. Hello? So I hadn't been keeping up with this movie. I, like, had heard that it was happening, but I wasn't sure about it. I wasn't, like, in the loop. I wasn't on the forums, you know, scourging for every update. And so apparently people knew that Brandy was reprising her Cinderella role for this, but I didn't. So when she appears with this beautiful music trill, I'm like, my girl, such a fun, pleasant surprise. But we are jumping ahead. I was jumping ahead there. But we meet Chloe. She is sword fighting / fencing with her papa, Charming. And I know this is, like, supposed to show her off as, like, this badass sword fighter, this sporty princess who is running and jumping off of things. And boba. The boba has appeared. So for those keeping track at home, I now have a boba, a coffee, and a water. 3 drinks, buddy. You always gotta have 3 drinks. I also got tofu. Fried spicy tofu. I'm gonna try to not include the eating in this video, because that's not what you came here for. But I'm really hungry. And today's the last day I have a chance to film this. I don't know how I'm gonna feel tomorrow, because I think my period is coming. When I'm on my period, I will die. Anyway, so we meet Chloe. She's sword fighting with her dad. And it's supposed to paint her as, like, this sporty, active princess who can do anything. She's ready for adventure. And it's not nearly half as effective as Red's introduction, unfortunately. And it feels like there's supposed to be this moment of characterization when Charming tells her, oh, don't be so serious, Chloe. We put you in Swords and Shields for something. Swords and Shields, I'm assuming, is a, like, kids' athletic camp? Or athletic team? But yeah, I thought Chloe was gonna be, like, a more serious character, and she kind of is. But not enough for this moment to happen in the movie, where it feels like they're like, hey, the one thing you need to know about Chloe is she can sword fight, and she's a serious girl. Neither of those things really come up again. They do, but not in... They do, technically, but not enough. And we'll talk about it when we get there. We also get to see Charming and Cinderella be disgustingly in love. Like, they see each other and it's immediate singing with each other, dancing on the lawn. Oh, hi, my love. And I'm like, that's correct. That is the correct characterization for Cinderella. If you're gonna have her, let her be disgustingly in love and embarrass her children. That makes sense to me. And, like, they harmonize, a dream is a wish your heart makes. No, that's not true. And, like, they harmonize, So This Is Love. And I was like, oh, that's such a beautiful song. Like, I had forgotten that it existed until that moment. I was like, I was hearing it for the first time. I was like, oh, that is a good song. Not to let my Disney adult show. But it's a beautiful song, okay? And they look great. I really appreciate this look of Cinderella. Minus the blue hair, but that's for part 2. It's not like the Lily James dress, you know, like the Cinderella dress, but I think that this is a beautiful rendition of Cinderella. I think it's just as valid as the Lily James dress. It's less fantastical and it feels more grounded in reality for some reason. I'm not super sure why, but I love the color of like this silvery blue to pay homage to the original dress. Is it silver? Is it blue? It's both. I love that. And I wish that this like silvery periwinkle color had come up more for Chloe. But it doesn't. She's just in a vibrant blue outfit. Like, she has some touches of this beautiful pastel soft color, but I think they were so honed in on her being sporty that they gave her stronger, more vibrant colors, and I think that was a bit of a mistake. Again, part 2. That being said, I do think that Malia, excuse me. I do think Malia is a gorgeous girl, and she is, while I don't like the blue wig, she's rocking it. She looks good. She looks really good. Like, she looks good. She's beautiful. They're all beautiful. Everyone in this movie is beautiful, and I hate it. I hate it. And so Ella and Chloe are getting ready to go to Oradon Prep for the welcoming ceremony, right? Everyone's getting ready to start the school year, and so they're on their way to start the school year. And in preparation, Ella gives Chloe her own pair of glass boots for being a good person and getting good grades and doing community service. Now, that is a beautiful setup for later. And I will call back to it when it comes up again. But that's a beautiful setup. Because you don't think about it. You go, oh yeah, okay, cool, fun. And then it gets brought up later and I was like, ooh, I should have seen that coming, actually. I'm the dumb one for not. But yeah, these boots are cool. I originally thought they were kind of cringy the first time I saw them. I thought they were a little bit ugly, a little bit too clunky. Especially in a reference to glass slippers originally, because Chloe says, oh, they're like yours but cooler, and I'm like, oh, okay, are they that much cooler than like a perfectly molded glass slipper? I guess they're more practical, but the second time I saw them, I'm like, oh, they're actually really pretty. I kind of want a pair, minus the mismatched shoelaces. I don't like that. I don't like that they have mismatched. That's dumb. Don't do that. But they're actually really pretty. And they're so pretty that they should have been a bigger character design of her. Like, these are iconic glass boots given to her by her mother, Cinderella. The glass slipper queen, glass boots. They should have been more important to her character design, but they're just hidden under pants. Which felt weird to me. They make a big deal about giving them to her, about her trying them on. Do they fit? Oh, they're a perfect fit, just to hide them? Weird choice. And honestly, okay, I'm gonna bring this up now. I was gonna wait till part 2. I'm just gonna bring it up now. I don't like Chloe's outfit. I love her jacket. The jacket that has like the little V shape, because it's feels like an homage to like chest plate armor, like the point that it has in the back of the jacket. I quite like that. But she feels, I don't know. It's weird. She has like the two-toned pants, the pants that flare just over the boots, the really high neck, and then a jacket to also cover her. I don't know if they were like trying to make her look modest because she's Cinderella's kid, where like she has to be demure. She has to be very demure, very cutesy. I don't know, but I think that they missed the mark. And that's not her fault. She's a beautiful girl. Like, I don't know how old she is. She's a beautiful young woman. So it feels like they're almost like trying to hide her a bit, which is just weird. It's just weird. I don't like her character, her costume for most of the movie, I like her starting outfit and her last outfit, which are very, very similar. But I think, like, having her in, like, a short, sparkly dress with leggings and the boots, or even, like, tights and the boots would have looked a lot better than the pants. And again, gorgeous young woman. Beautiful, stunning young woman. What are you doing? I don't like a lot of the costumes in this. Some of them I really like, and I will call them out as they come up, but, like, a lot of them I don't like. They just miss the mark for me. But here, as they're getting into the not chariot, into the carriage. As they're getting into the carriage, we hear that Charming is going to go visit Brad at university because he wants to go see his tourney tournament. Tournament? Yeah, no, that's what it's called. That's an awful, awful name. But it's cute. I think that's really cute. They seem like really doting parents. And with this piece of information that Charming is like, yes, I'll drop everything to come see you and support you, even though you're not good at tourney. He doesn't say that. That's me putting that in. Even though you're not good at this, I will come to support you and to cheer you on. Like, I know you want me to. And with Ella, you know, doting on Chloe and giving her these shoes for being a good person, they feel like very overly doting parents. And it's not surprising to me that Chad came out the way he did. A spoiled little brat. That makes sense to me with parents like this. Not saying that they did anything wrong. Chad's just privileged. And it makes sense. But this is still a duo movie, so hard cut back to Red and the Queen of Hearts. It's the next morning after her causing a havoc. And it's Baby's first decapitation! So the Queen of Hearts, played by Rita Ora, who is so good. It is so fun seeing her just, like, be this kind of, like, crazy, like, villain, just for fun. Like, just a villain to be villainous for fun, and to, like, eat it up. It's just really fun. I really like her. How many times can I say fun? She's good. She's really good in this. She's really good. But she sees her courtyard is completely trashed, and she says, this is a teaching moment for my daughter. It is time for Baby's first decapitation. It's time. She just grows up so fast. But Red obviously doesn't want to go through with it. She tries to joke it off. You know, she says off with his hat instead of his head. And she's just, like, kind of uncomfortable with the whole thing. She's trying to, like, laugh it off, brush it off. But Mama's like, no, it's time. You put on your big girl pants. And this is the first time we hear her say, it is better to be feared than to be loved. Which, again, feels like it's setting up a much bigger plot point than it actually is. But that is her whole ethos. Is that it's better to be feared than to be loved. That's why she is so axe ready with the decapitation. And there's, like, a genuinely scary moment where the Queen of Hearts is telling Red, if you don't punish him, I will show you what punishment really is. Drama. We love to see it. And Red is saved by Maddox once again. And he comes running in. Hey, wait, there's mail. It's important. You better look at it. And it's an invitation to Ordon Prep. To which Red is like, my mom's not gonna let me go. She hates anything I would love. This would be too much freedom. I wouldn't be under her thumb anymore. And Queen Bridget goes, pack your bags. Let's go. How fun. Suspicious. But they go. They drive. Queen Bridget drives like a madwoman, as she should, as is her God-given right. And on the way to Ordon Prep, and while at Ordon Prep, we get song 2. Love Ain't It. I want to love the song so much and I just don't. I love the production. The performance, the gospel choir. Love Ain't. Oh my god, it's so fun. And then the lyrics are so bad. It gets me. It just does. And now I know I'm not great with music. I am tone deaf. Genuinely tone deaf. I have professional training in singing, like to be a performer. Again, performing arts degree. I took years and years of singing classes in school and out. Tone deaf. So I'm the last person who has the vocabulary to really explain why I don't vibe with this music. But if someone else knows why, please put it down below. Why do the lyrics not work? Why does it not feel... Why is the flow off? I don't know. It just feels a hair off. Like it's a slant rhyme that doesn't quite land. Or it's a beat that doesn't quite sync with the music. Something about it is just a little off, and I don't like it. And it doesn't feel intentional either. But yeah, no, these lyrics ain't it. I will say. But I do want to circle back to the use of the word love for a Queen of Hearts. She says, love ain't it, and it's better to be feared than loved. Love. Big, in all caps, big word, love. And I want you to keep that in mind, okay? Okay? Red starts off the song by saying, you say love ain't it. It makes me weak. How would I know if I haven't felt it yet? I don't know the rhythm of what that song is supposed to be, so sorry. I tried to sing it, and it but that's the opening line to the song, which implies romantic love. Not platonic, not familial, romantic love. She hasn't felt love yet. Which, you could make the argument, no, it's her mom who doesn't love her. That's why she hasn't felt it. Maddox loves her. Maddox, who created a whole time machine, who broke the laws of physics because he cares about her. She knows what it's like to be loved. She's not naive to Maddox caring about her, to people caring about her. So if it's gonna be familial love, you can't have that scene where he very clearly loves her, right? Because if you have those two scenes, then you're telling me it's romantic love. Capital Love, romantic love. It's not romantic love. I'll tell you that. Romantic love is not the theme of this movie, but it should be. I will die on that hill. It should be. Romantic love should play a much bigger role in this story than it does. But speaking of romantic love, this segues me into talking about our two leads. They finally meet for the first time. They're at Down Prep. They're in the little, like, check-in desk at the front of the courtyard, which is so funny to me that in a magical school with kings and queens and royalty and magic and all these fantastical things, and there's still just a check-in desk. You have to write your name. You have to put a little initial behind it. It's just so silly to me. It makes it feel like a real school, and that's the level of silly that I love. Just like a little sprinkling of silly on the side. But they're both checking in, because, check-in desk, they have two lines. They're both checking in, and Chloe, my girl, she tries to be nice and charming, and she's like, hi, Chloe Charming. Nice to meet you. And Red, it practically gags. She's like, get away from me. Don't talk to me. And these young women are so great in their roles. They're so fun to see. There's like this nice, light chemistry from the very moment that they like lay eyes on each other. And Disney, I beg you, let them be gay. Let them be gay. Take the financial hit if there is any. You're a $1 billion company. Let them be gay. God. And also, speaking of letting them be gay, apparently, in one of the original versions of this film, Chloe was supposed to have a bit of romantic interest with one of the girlies in the past. We'll get there, because I have thoughts on that. Because I don't know if that's true, but the rumor mill is running with it, and so I'm gonna run with it. Because I want it to be true. I want it to be true that... But I don't. Because then if it's true, then they cut it because they cut out gay. Which... I have so many thoughts and feelings. And only one mouth to get all the things out with. Anyway, there's also where we get the first mention of a prank that happened back in the day, back when Ella and Bridget were still good friends and they were in school together. And this is the prank. This is the moment that turns Bridget from Princess Bridget to the evil Queen of Hearts. And I want you to keep that in mind for when we get there. Okay? And and I know I'm not the only one that thinks this, but from this moment that we have where they talk about it, and the way that the Queen of Hearts talks about it and talks about Ella, I thought Ella was the one that did the prank. Which I was like, oh, ballsy. You're gonna make Cindy do that? Damn. They didn't. At least not in this movie. I'm still not fully convinced that in movie 2, we're gonna get more context to prove that, like, Ella did do something wrong. But that's for the tinfoil hat time. But yeah, they used to be super close, and now they're rivals. And they don't love each other anymore. There's also the moment where we get my second favorite lyric from the movie, which I don't think I have any more after this, but Ella says, it's really lovely. Where is it? Okay, so here's the line. Some people act mean at first because they're too afraid to feel. It's survival. It's protection. That's why roses grow their thorns. Do you see what I mean about the lyrics not feeling right? Because, like, in time, what's her problem? What's her deal? Some people act mean at first because they're too afraid to feel. It's survival. It's protection. That's why roses grow their thorns. Come on, whose side are you on? The only one worse than her is her mom. Couldn't get better flow on that. I wish I had the vocabulary to stand on a soapbox as to why the lyrics aren't good. I just know that they aren't good. But I do like that line, that's why roses grow their thorns. I think it fits the aesthetic, it fits the message, it fits the vibe of the conflict between these two characters, between Ella and Bridget. It's just a very good use of words. That she's a rose who grew her thorns because something happened. And that Ella doesn't hold it against her. I do really like that. And so we finish out the song, and everyone starts to settle in for the welcoming ceremony, / opening speech from Uma. And I just have a question. Why does Bridget change clothes here? I'm just asking. Does anyone have a theory as to why? Because I know that they came in with, like, luggage, but I'm assuming that's for her daughter. Which, I mean, I could see the evil Queen of Hearts, like, to make a scene, to make a statement, bringing her own dress for her daughter's, like, opening ceremony. But, like, red doesn't change. It's just the Queen of Hearts that changes. So, I don't know. You let me know. Do you think that Bridget fully changed clothes just to be an attention-seeking bad mom? Or is there a scene that's missing here? That's what I think happened. But yeah, do you have any thoughts? I will say I am so sad that she changed out of the red and black dress because, hello? That's the correct choice. That's the dress you should be wearing. Not this, like, cupcake one. The cupcake one is very pretty. I do like that it's covered in roses and that some of the roses are in the shape of hearts. The collar's kind of fun. It just, I think because it's so structured, it doesn't look good. It needed to be, like, a little bit more flowy. Maybe. I'm not sure. I'm not vibing with this one as much as I'm vibing with the other one. I really like that other one. I think it really embodies this, like, high neck, formal show of power, over the top, grandiose character. And then the heart roses are a little bit more, like, cartoony. But that's just me. But, Uma comes out as school principal, and she struts in. And this little shoulder move that she does just scratches my brain. She comes out to perform song number 3. It's a reprise of What's My Name, which is Uma's song from movie 2. What's my name? What's my name? Uma, say it louder. Anyway, it's that song. And I think it should have been changed. I think this is a wonderful moment to have a reprise of that song to call back to movie 2 and 3, and, like, this is Uma's, like, anthem. It makes sense that she sings it as she walks in. I do love the mental image that they had to rehearse this. Like, they had to do a soundtrack for her to strut in with her little shoulders and to sing her little song. Love that. That's good. But it is kind of weird to have a school principal have a line about taking over the world. Just saying. And I know that this song was remixed, so now it's also What's My Name with Red, and she has a few verses on the song, but that song isn't played in the movie. It feels like it was just done for promotional reasons. Like, that, it's What's My Name, the Red remix, and The Shuffle of Love are 2 fully fleshed out songs that only get, like, snippets in the movie, which is odd. Again, were scenes cut, Disney? Were they? I'm asking for a friend, that's all. But I will say I do love the remix of this because they added an electric guitar. Hello? Iconic. Also, in the vein of they need to do a sound check for this, that also means that Fairy Godmother also had to be there for the sound check so she knew where to stand, where she could just stand and be cute. Which just tickles my brain. I think that's really funny. But Uma gets to have her opening speech, or she starts to have her opening speech, and then it is very short-lived with the Queen of Hearts being rude as hell, and she just pulls out her deck of cards and just kind of like starts shuffling and doing little hand tricks, which the cards, this might be a controversial opinion, I don't think the cards were utilized enough, personally. And I know I say that with her about to stage a coup using these cards, and that the cards are actually her little card soldier men. But I said what I said. I don't think they're utilized enough. But anyway, so she's being rude. She's shuffling. Uma goes, excuse me. Hi, do you mind? And she goes, yeah, I do, actually. Mom, what are you doing? I'm just playing my favorite game. War. Coup. Soldiers. Ah! And I do really appreciate that the first thing that she does when she stages her coup to take over the school of Oridon, because again, she's evil, is she cuts the magic wand in half. Immediately. Immediately neutralizing any sort of power that our heroes had. It's really effective, honestly. And now, Red doesn't have it in her to stand up to her mom just yet. She is very clearly in shock. A lot of good acting from Kylie here. She's very clearly in shock. She feels betrayed. She's like, this was supposed to be for me. I thought we were here for me. Like, why do you have to make everything about you? And she's very clearly upset. And I really like this moment because I don't know. I don't know if it's Kylie's acting. It has to be. But it feels like you're seeing a young girl who doesn't know what to do. Where she's looking at her mom aghast. She's shocked. And she's like, I don't know how to stand up to my mom just yet. And she very, very clearly is uncomfortable with everything that's going on. But she doesn't have the words to say anything. Which I genuinely appreciated from Kylie. And again, I could be thinking too much into this. I just really like that in this moment, her mom is putting expectation on her for what she's supposed to do. The prisoners are now putting expectations on her of what they expect her to do because she's her mother's daughter. And she defaults to just be a good girl and do what mommy says. And it's really sad. Because you see that with kids who tend to have, like, meaner and more abusive parents before they really find their voice. There are moments where it's like, just fall in line, do what mommy says, and things aren't going to go wrong. You know, and there's a moment of that here. Which I just really liked. It's such a small thing, but I quite liked it. We also learn that Bridget, she's evil because she was humiliated at her first dance. Bridget, baby girl, that's not good enough reason, honey. You'd humiliate a girl her first dance. Bridget! And this is what I mean about, like, the theme of capital L love, romantic love, needing to be a more prominent role in this movie. She should have gotten her heart shattered. She's the Queen of Hearts. The heartless Queen of Hearts with a broken heart. It writes itself. But no. She was just humiliated. She was just embarrassed at her first dance. And, like, I wonder if they picked this because humiliation is, like the idea of being mortified and being embarrassed is, like, a more kid-friendly theme. Like, kids are going to empathize more with the idea of being embarrassed in front of all of your classmates. That's what it feels like. Which, again, don't dumb down movies for kids. Because kids aren't dumb and you just make a dumb movie. But I'm not getting off my soapbox. I'm just sitting down, you know? I'm just gonna sit down on my soapbox instead. I don't know, it feels like such a small reason. It doesn't feel like a good enough reason for her to be decapitating people. Especially when we do go back and meet younger Bridget, like, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. But anyway, the Queen of Hearts is having her moment, and Ella stands up, and she stands up to her old friend, and she's like, this isn't like you. It is like her. Girl, she decapitates people. And she says that she'll never kneel to a tyrant. And Red very childishly, and I don't mean that as an insult, I mean that as a compliment. She very childishly says, you just have to pledge your allegiance. Is that so hard? Again, really drilling home that she is like this abused kid who is just, keep your head down, this will be over soon, just do what mom says. And I think that's a good bit, I don't know. I think that's just a good bit of writing, of having her say that. Just do it. It's not hard. I was scared I was going to record over my previous recording and I got really nervous. Anyway, what were we talking about? I finished my tofu. Thanks for asking. It was delicious. But yes, no, back to Red being baby girl, because she is in fact baby girl in this moment. She's very, oh my god, my heart breaks for her, honestly. But Queen Bridget, she waves her hand and she says, off with her head. To her childhood friend, Ella, the one person who was nice to her. She goes, off with her head. Again, it should have been heartbreak. But seeing Ella get escorted away is the thing that sparks Red and Chloe. Ow! I cut the back of my hand, and so I have a scab right over this knuckle. I'm not going to show it to you in case anyone gets, like, squeamish. I scraped my knuckle on a tree. I was out there beating up trees like normal, like I do on a daily basis. No, I'm kidding. I was putting the trash cans away, and I went and scraped the back of my hand. But that really hurt. Ugh, I'm a baby. I'm baby girl. Anyway, but that's when it hits Red and Chloe at the exact same time that, oh, she's about to start killing people. We need to do something. And they both spring into action, which we love to see. We love to have, like, a save the cat moment. Is it a save the cat moment? I don't think so. But we love to have the moment where, like, the hero has to jump into action. And the squabble here is a little unclear. Just the choreography could have been better, I'm just saying. But Chloe goes, so Red takes out the pocket watch, goes down the stairs. Then we cut to Chloe pulling out the sword, but only like halfway, because then Red comes in and she goes to shove the sword and they're going back and forth, and that's how they click the pocket watch. Awkward, convoluted, not that clear visually storytelling wise. It's not the best. It almost felt like choreography from a student film, just saying, as someone who's been in many of those, just saying. But boom, time travel. And the first person we see is Faye. Teenage fairy godmother, no notes. She's perfect. I love her. I love that her name is Faye. Hello? Like, someone earned their bonus there. But she's precious and she's not good at magic. Which just proves that she's never been good at magic. But she's trying to charm her textbook to speed read. Again, a la Halloween Town University. Anyway. But she's trying to charm it to speed read and the book runs away. Very cute, very precious. I love her. I wish we saw more of her. But here we get into song 5 called The Fight of Our Lives. And, Hey ladies, quick question. What's this? What is this? Asking for a friend. Just asking for a friend. And I will say the song left a lot to be desired. And again, I mean, like, the production is really good. This song should slap. And it doesn't. The lyrics don't flow. Malia, the actress playing Chloe, feels like she's really heavily auto-tuned. Which, she's a fantastic singer. I don't know why she's auto-tuned here, and then Kylie's not. Red, she's not auto-tuned. And I don't know. I've listened to this album more times than I will ever admit, even on my deathbed. And it always stands out to me just how heavily auto-tuned that first note of Malia's is. It's just so, I don't know. It should be a banger. There's a guitar. It's just, it should be a banger and it's not. It just feels so unnecessary. And part of that is, like, part of the reason why the song kind of feels flat. And if you guys don't know, if you have not studied musical theater, the way music should work I need my hands for this. The way music should work in a musical, in a movie musical, in any musical, is the song is propelling the story forward. The idea around songs and bursting out into song and dance is the characters are feeling so much that they're talking, everything's coming out. And when words don't suffice, suddenly they're moving, they're pacing around, they're expressing things with their body. And when that isn't enough and they're feeling so much, that's when we burst into song, and that's when we burst into dance. Songs are meant to carry the plot forward. There's only one caveat that I could think of to this rule, which is jukebox musicals and The Greatest Showman. And both of those things are a little bit more special case. Jukebox musicals are musicals made with like an artist's discography. Think Mamma Mia and ABBA. Mamma Mia is based on I'm not going to remember it right now, and I can't Google it because I don't want to waste precious battery time. It's based off a play. I'll put a picture up. And then was turned into a musical using the songs from ABBA, right? That's a jukebox musical. Or The Four Seasons. Jersey Boys, The Four Seasons. And then the only other caveat I can think of is The Greatest Showman. And I don't remember what type of musical this is called, where the music is beat in to the lifeblood of the actual show. Like in The Greatest Showman, they sing because they're performers. And in that, we are learning about the story and about the characters and their relationships together. Half the time it is still when you can't express it anymore, you burst into song and dance. So, again, the movie musicals, it's a little bit more loosey-goosey with, like, the definition of what defines a musical. But that's, like, the gist. The point of this to say is the songs need to serve a purpose. They're not just there for fun. They're not just there for marketing. They're not just there for no reason. They're telling you something. They're moving the plot forward intentionally. If not, there's no need to have music. Period. If the music doesn't serve something, don't make a musical. And this song feels like it doesn't serve anything. I hate to say it. But it does. It feels incredibly well rehearsed. They're running around, they're doing this, they're performing, and they're having a great time, and they're fun to watch. They're so fun to watch. Again, the cast is really talented. They're so fun to watch, but the song is supposed to be about working together. We're in the fight of our lives. We have to be on the same side. Something like that. Like, they have to work together. And they don't. They just don't. They don't work together. They're fighting. And could it have been intentional? And this was like a great opportunity to kind of show us that they can't work together, that they're not good yet. It feels too well rehearsed. They're dancing together too well. And it's like, well, that's the opposite of what should be happening. And this should be reserved for part 2, but we'll get there. I have more thoughts. It should feel more syncopated. They're not in sync yet. They're not... they're not in sync yet. Like, they're just not there yet. And their fighting styles should be a little different. This was a perfect opportunity to physically show the difference between these two girls, and you just don't. And again, the song is about working together, and at the very end of the song, the pocket watch is on a chain, it goes flying, and it lands on a gargoyle, and they're talking about, oh, we're on the same side. We're on the same side in the fight of our lives, sometimes we're working together, sometimes. And instead of working together to get the watch, Chloe is standing there with her sword, jumping up trying to get it, and Red is just standing there looking all sassy. And I'm like, guys, that's the point of the song. You're supposed to work together. I will say this moment does fuel the little 14-year-old shipper in me. It does, but still, that doesn't take away from the grievances I have with this moment. And because of that, it makes the story feel stagnant. It doesn't feel like we're really moving forward. It feels like we're in this courtyard for a very long time, and we haven't learned much about the girls, about the quest, about anything. And we're in there for a while. I think it's like 10 minutes or something, where nothing is happening. It just feels way too long. And again, going back to this character that was rumored to maybe have been Chloe's love interest, and that's why she got cut, because they didn't want to be gay. This character, there's a lot of complicated lore around her, which we'll go more into in the second part, but I don't remember who it was. It might have been her director, but they said that they cut her from the story. She was supposed to have a bigger part, and they cut her because the story was too jam-packed. They put too much stuff into it. Did you? Did you really? I don't think you did. I don't think you did, baby. I don't think you did. Not as much as you think you did. This entire section just could have been stitched up a little bit more. It could have gone a little faster, a little bit better pacing. You could have shown us a lot more. Show, don't tell, blah, blah, blah. Storytelling, I'm sorry. And then after this, they just walk around. Okay, we're on the side. Do. They walk around and they have to figure out where they are, what are they doing. They figure out that they're no longer at Oradon Prep. No. They're at Merlin Academy before the Kingdom of Oradon was established. They also learn about Castle Coming. Great name. Great name. They learn about Castle Coming. And they realize, this is the night Cinderella and Charming fell in love. And this is where Bridget had her life ruined. Cool. Now we have a mission. We have a focus. We have a focus of what we're supposed to be doing. This is like 30 minutes into the movie. That's an hour and a half long. So they pretend to be exchange students, which works because Merlin is a little ditzy. He's a little bit of a dope. And he's like, I'm sure the paperwork will show up. It's fine. And they get dragged into class with Merlin. They have to go to alchemy, which is like interesting story building because if you go back to movie 1 and 2, the Kingdom of Oradon, there's no magic. That's why all the villains are sequestered off into their own realm. They cause too much havoc. There's no magic here. And so the fact that in one generation, they were still teaching alchemy and magic in school. Interesting. What happened? Was Bridget the one who caused... No. I was gonna say, was Bridget the one who caused enough havoc to where they're like, let's sequester the villains? There's a crap ton of other villains. So, I don't know. It's just weird. It's really interesting that in one generation so much changed. But our girls get to meet their moms! I love Bridget. No, don't. She is so cute. She is my favorite character. She's all pink, and she's precious, and she's just so cute. I considered wearing pink for this, but I don't have a pink top that doesn't have like an ink stain on it. But I adore her. I do. And she is so sweet. Red is genuinely taken aback by how sweet Bridget is. She's asking her, like, why are you talking like that? Why are you acting like that? Like, what's going on? And Bridget's like, what are you talking about? What's going on? Do you want a cupcake? I make cupcakes. It's just really cute. She's very, very sweet. And then our girl Chloe gets to meet Ella, who I really like. I like Ella. I really like how they adapted her like wardrobe. I didn't change into a blue top because I got really hot wearing a red sweater in the middle of August. No, why would you say that? I just wanted to rep our girl Chloe for a little bit and wear blue. That's all. I like Ella. I do. I like how they adapted her, like, raggedy look, but still, like, descendants fight it. Like, she wears this romper that's a bunch of, like, denim pieces sewn together. And I think that's fun. That's a cute adaptation. I hate the hair, but that is a bigger discussion for later. But I think the casting is really good. I really like them. Again, the cast is just so good. But we learn Bridget was a sweetheart growing up. She's so kind. She's smiling. She's passing out cupcakes to everyone. She just wants to be friends with people. Like, it's... she's a sweetheart. And then her and Ella are like... They're besties. This is so cute. When this leads us into our song, which I believe is most people's favorite song. If it's not most people's favorite song, it's Disney's favorite song. Because it's everywhere. Life is sweeter. Life is sweeter when you are cute. Again, I'm tone deaf. Don't be mean to me. But yeah, they keep performing it. They performed it at D23, which was really cool. It's a mix of, I think they perform the song Red, like part of the song Red mixed with Life is Sweeter, if I'm not mistaken. But they performed at D23. They sound amazing live. You can tell that they're live because they're like, it's not perfect, but that's live music. You know, that they sound fantastic. And I like that, and I don't mean they're not perfect in like a bad way. I mean like, it sounds human. And I like that. I like that it sounds good. I like that they sound that good live while still dancing around like full force. It's great. It's great, okay? They're so talented. But personally, I really like the song. It gets stuck in my head all the time. It keeps showing up on my For You page. And every time it shows up, I have to watch it. All of it. Obviously. And I don't know. I really like the song. I also have a soft spot for flamingos in the color pink. Again, pretend I'm wearing pink. Okay? I think it's cute, and I'm a huge fan of, like, minuscule magic. like, little tiny magical things that happen. So, like, they eat the flamingo feathers, and their hair turns pink, their hat turns pink, the skateboard turns pink. Like, I love little stuff like that. Like, it's just, it makes the world feel alive. It's just cute, and it's something that I try to incorporate in my own writing and story crafting as someone who writes magical realism, urban fantasy. And I do want to point out, I wasn't the one who noticed this. Songs from a Suitcase is the first person I saw to call this out. She did a reaction to the song. But she pointed out that the flamingo feathers, the Queen of Hearts in the original Alice in Wonderland, plays croquet using the flamingos as the mallets. And I thought that was very cute. I thought that was just really cute. It's a small detail that I appreciate. That's all. And I didn't catch it the first time around. So, cute. And honestly, like, while people love the song, they also have, like, a lot of problems with this sequence. And I just don't feel the same way. And honestly, I think Disney did, like, a really great job of making Merlin Prep feel different from... No. Merlin Academy feel different from Auradon Prep. It just feels different. It feels like a different school. And I really like that. And I know that there are some people who aren't a fan of the fact that, like, the villains are in school. Because, like, why would villains be in school? Why is Hades in high school instead of running the underworld? And you know what? I don't know. And I don't care. It's so fun. But I'm also the type of person where, like, you can tell me the God of the Underworld went to high school before taking up the crown as God of the Underworld. And I'd be like, okay, tell me more. Really? Because it's fun. It's a fun choice. I'm the biggest person to suspend my disbelief for anything that's just fun. So, take that with a grain of salt. If that's really gonna bother you, that's up to you to decide. Like, I don't know. As long as you commit to the silly idea, I'm gonna rock with you. I'm gonna rock with you all the way. And they committed, for the most part, I think. And I will say, I do really appreciate, this is such a small thing, I really appreciate that, Hades and Maleficent are high school sweethearts. That's the correct answer. So if you don't know, if you're just chilling here, crocheting, or doing another fiber craft, or painting, or what have you, folding laundry, meal prepping, I see you. But if you're here just listening to something that you have no idea what I'm talking about, or why that's important, Hades and Maleficent are the parents of Mal, who is the protagonist of movie 1, 2, and 3. The main protagonist, the purple one. Her parents are Hades and Maleficent. So, I love that they're here. They're high school sweethearts. They're hanging off one another all the time. The actors, if you look in the background, they're leaning on each other. They're holding hands. That's the correct choice. Good for them. Because that makes so much sense. That makes so much sense. That Hades and Maleficent are high school sweethearts who can't keep their hands off each other. They have a kid at 17, get married, they're divorced by 20, and Maleficent's a single mom. It makes sense. It does. Plus, they look good. Like, I like this character design. I don't think Maleficent should have had hair on her horns. That was a choice. But other than that, I was eating it up. I think they look so good. And these actors, again, they do not have enough speaking roles because they are embodying their characters. The cast is so talented! Anyway, the entire musical number of Life is Sweet is actually really dope, and I was eating it up. Everyone is correct about this being their favorite. It just works for me. It's just fun. It's a fun, big group number, except for Gelatin. I hate them. I hate them so much. And I'm genuinely only bringing it up so I can bring up this again. Hey, ladies? Ladies. Question. Hello? What the hell? What the hell is this? Also completely unrelated to the forehead touch thing that haunts me in my dreams. Their ship name, apparently, is Glass Hearts. And I love that. I've heard a few other ship names, but Glass Hearts is the best one. And anyway, back to the rest of the villains. We learned that our big bad is Uliana, who is Ursula's little sister. And apparently this actress is in High School Musical, the series. I think a lot of these actors and actresses are from High School Musical, the series. But she's performing, baby. Like, she's into it. But this does make, 2 movies where Ursula is mentioned by name and then never shown and is just... She's not a fridge, but she's just a motivation for another character to be a big bad is so funny to me. It's so silly. It's just so silly. Because, like, she's been mentioned twice, right? She's the reason why Uma is the way she is, and why her and Mal are both the reason why Uma is the way she is. But, like, she's Uma's evil backstory, mommy issues, and now she's Uliana's evil backstory, big sister issues. If they ever show Ursula, they have to stick the landing, buddy. They have to nail it on the head that she is the baddest one around. If not, I will come back to this clip and laugh at myself. It is a little convoluted that the new villain is someone's little sister, like a recognizable character's little sister. It's a little convoluted, but I will accept it. Because it's very quick shorthand. It gives Uliana motivation. It gives her reason for wanting to be bigger and badder and worse than her big sister. And we don't even have to know that, like, what her big sister did that was so bad. But, like, just saying she doesn't want to be in her sister's shadow. Cool, that's it. That's motivation. That's clean, that's clear, that's concise. It is a quick shorthand that tells me all I need to know about a character. So it works. It works. It works for me. And again, it doesn't super clean up the timeline for the future kids, but it does reinforce my theory that Hades and Maleficent had a kid probably in school, if I'm being completely honest. Just saying. For Ursula, the older sister, to have a daughter the same age as Mal, which Ursula's... Oh, I am ashy! Oh my god. Excuse me, so sorry. I've gotten out of the habit of putting on lotion because to use my TENS machine for my chronic pain, I can't have any lotion or else it won't conduct electricity. But I am going to put on lotion for this because that's embarrassing. Anyway. But yeah, it just reinforces that notion, which I love. You know, does that have to be the case? No, they could all have kids later in life, but I am sticking with my theory. Thank you. And so the other two bullies who are in Uliana's little gang, we see the original Hook and Morgie, who is Morgana's son, who's apparently an evil sorceress from, like, Merlin from The Sword and the Stone. Don't do that. / Arthurian legend. Now the lyric is, son of Morgana Serpentine, with a comma. I put on captions, there's a comma. And I checked the lyrics. There's a comma, right? And apparently it's a hotly debated lyric online. Whether the name is Morgana Serpentine or Morgana and then Serpentine being an adjective. And I'm here to set the record straight, okay? It doesn't matter, go touch grass. Personally, I thought he was a Gorgon kid. Because, like, his eyes glow and he makes a sound. So, Medusa, Gorgon, Morgan. It just made sense in my head. And you know what? Personally, I hope that they change it. I hope that becomes the new canon and it pisses people off. Because I saw so many people arguing about who his parental lineage was. And I was like, besties, it doesn't matter. He's barely in the movie. Anyway, Uliana has to be a villain, so she steals all the cupcakes and she eats all the flamingo feathers. Which Bridget, in all fairness, Bridget does try to tell her, hey, that's too many flamingo feathers. You can't eat that. And personally, I don't think she was going to, like, steal the flamingo feathers. I think she just wanted to steal the cupcakes to be mean to Bridget, and then she backpedaled, and was like, I just wanted fine, have your cupcakes. If you're gonna stand up to me, I guess. I just wanted the feathers. And you can't prove me wrong. Which, again, that's just acting choices that I picked up on, that, like, subtle, subtext I thought was very funny. And so she eats all the feathers to prove a point, to prove that all she wanted was flamingo feathers, and it doesn't look great, but she gets a flamingo beak. Her hair, her locks everything turns pink, and her face turns pink, and she gets this big old flamingo beak, with feathers. And it looks like someone just took a, like, birthday party hat and just stuck it on her face, I will say. It doesn't look great, but pink dreads are fire. The pink dreads are just fire. I love it. It doesn't look great, but the pink dreads are fire, dude. She looks so good with them. But unfortunately, Uliana is humiliated, and she goes running and chasing after our heroes, and then she ends up falling into a fountain, and then she curses not literally, but she swears her revenge on Bridget and co. Which Dara Renee, I believe that's how you pronounce her name, she is performing, buddy. She is screaming. She's throwing a tantrum. She's having a great time, and she is so much fun to watch. She's screaming on top of her lungs, splashing in the water. Oh my god, it's so fun. But after this, we learn more about Castle Coming with Bridget and Ella, and we learn that Ella doesn't want to go to Castle Coming because it's royalist and she's poor, which, this is the correct choice for Cinderella, honestly. I love that. But I love this angle of Cinderella being, like, a little grunge. She's a grunge kid who is, like, down with the system. I think that's so funny. That's so fun. That is so funny. But Charming comes, and he asks her to go, and she's like, no, it's only for royalist snobs, screw you. And she's, like, firm on that. She's like, no, I don't want to go. And he goes, oh, okay. He's, like, very clearly disappointed, and then he leaves, and Bridget is like, oh, I wish someone was that interested in me and going with me. And Ella immediately backtracks, and she's like, let's go together, you and me. Bridget's like, but you said you didn't want to go. Well, I think we'll have fun if we go together. And I love that. Yes! She only wants to go so her best friend doesn't feel left out. Yes! Friends! I love that! But also, hey ladies. Hey ladies, what's going on? But, and then our girls, Red and Chloe, they have a little powwow. They check in with each other and they're like, oh, well, it has to be Juliana who's causing the prank to happen. She's gonna be the one. What do? We have to find out where she is. Okay, well, who can we talk to? Let's go talk to Ella. Again, the pacing here is, like, really weird. They were just talking to Ella. Like, literally in the school hallway, they're talking. They go to another room, the music room, and then immediately they're like, we should go talk to Ella. And it's like, you were just there. So the reason why they decided to go talk to Ella is because Red makes the point that Ella is going to be the one to know how to take down Bridget because they're such good friends, and so she knows all of her secrets, so if anyone's going to know how to take her down, it's going to be her. And Chloe's like, you have intimacy issues, my dude. It's okay. Not everyone's out to get you. So I know why we had to have that moment where they step away, but it does feel very silly when I'm talking to Ella, I'm going to go talk over here, I have to go talk to Ella. Well, I have to go all the way to her house because she got there significantly before me, even though I was right behind her. But anyway, Chloe and Red end up going to Ella's house, and Chloe is shocked at what she finds. She's like shocked to find out how Ella is treated, and that she is the Cinderella that we know, the Cinderella of fables, the one who's treated like a maid, to dote after her evil stepmother and her evil step-siblings. And I think that is so interesting. And personally, I think it lends credence to what I was saying earlier about Cinderella and Charming being overly doting parents. Being so overly doting to the point of spoiling their children. I think that this is one of the moments of storytelling that I actually really appreciated, because this is a little bit more subtle. Chloe, not knowing how her mother was raised, tells us as the audience that Ella kept that from her. She kept all the darkest parts of her a secret. I really like that, honestly. I think this movie really shines when it's not catering towards a dumber audience. I think it can do a lot of really good things. And there's also when we learn about the shoes. You remember I said put a pin in the glass boots? The glass boots? Red tells Chloe, like, hey, maybe it's time to lose the glass shoes, buddy. Like, you're slipping and sliding everywhere, which was very funny. It's very, very funny. And I do love the sound that they make as she slides on the floor, like that twinkling sound. Oh, that's so funny. That's good sound design. But Red is like, hey, bestie, maybe it's time to lose the shoes. Chloe is very obviously reluctant to give up her shoes. She goes, no, my mom gave them to me. And I don't know if Red or Ella says why, but Chloe ends up telling them, she gave them to me for being a good person. For getting good grades and volunteering and being a good person. And Ella quips back with, does it really count as being a good person if you have to be rewarded for it? Which just rocks Chloe's world. And I think that this is just a really good moment of, this movie could have been really good if it wasn't dumbed down for kids, because, yeah, I didn't realize that the first time around. I didn't think twice about it, because I grew up with kids whose parents would pay them to get straight A's. You know, like, that's not that uncommon. I just never thought about it. I never questioned it. You know, for every A you get $20, you get $50. I never did that. My parents didn't have money like that. But I knew kids who did that, who were, like, good kids, like, just genuinely good kids. So I didn't think twice about it. So when Ella says that, I was like, oh, ear for filth, go off. And it really, like, rocks Chloe's world. Like, she doesn't know what to do with that information. She's like, oh, I thought it was. I thought I was a good person. Am I? And then not only that, but we end up, you know, talking about Bridget, and Ella brings up that Bridget is the strongest person she knows. You know, Red tries to rag on her, being like, she's an easy target, she's weak, and Ella stands up for her best friend. She goes, she's the strongest person I know. And that's why she gets picked on. Because no matter how hard Uliana tries to bully her, no matter how hard, no matter how mean people are to her, she chooses to stay kind, and she chooses to continue to be their friend. Or at least to continue to try to be their friend. And I love that. I love that. Because that's the original point of Cinderella. The point of Cinderella is that she stays soft in a world of hardship. She stays kind, and she doesn't let the cruelty get to her. She's the princess with the golden heart. And she stays loving and gentle in the face of cruelty. And so, in a modern retelling, having her have that trait because of her best friend, I think that's a really good twist that stays within the theming and the morals of the original fable. And not just the original fable, but also the original story that Disney popularized, you know? I think that's a really fun modern twist to put to it. Because a lot of people love to shit on Cinderella and Snow White and Aurora. I won't say anything about Aurora. I don't know Sleeping Beauty well enough. But they love to shit on those princesses because, like, oh, they're not strong role models. They're just dainty little girls. And it's like, guys, there are other points to the story. There are other things that are more important. And I think this is a great way to bring that moral to a new audience, to the kids who you know are going to watch the movie, and to the older generation who might have forgotten in their time from hearing that story as a kid. I love that detail. Mwah! Chef's kiss. Chef's kiss! And I wish that they had delved deeper into this. One of the themes of the movie, whether intentional or not, is what we learn from one another. How we work together. And are we a product of how we're born or how we're raised? And it's something that isn't explored enough, because this is a theme that runs through both timelines, through our modern timeline with Red and Chloe, and through the past timeline with Ella and Bridget. The reason why these relationships work, these friendships work, is because they rely on one another, they learn from one another, and they lean on each other for strength. Exhibit A of Ella staying strong because Bridget is strong in the face of adversity. And then later on with Chloe learning that not everything is black and white, not everything is exactly structured the way that she thinks it is, and that she can learn from others' experiences. And it's just not explored nearly enough. And it gets boiled down to, like, girl power. And sure, yes. But also, there's just something so much meatier there that would have made such a better story if it was just explored a little bit more and not immediately dropped. And again, I don't want to hear, it's just a children's movie, it shouldn't have complex themes. That's dumb. That's just dumb. And especially for these movies, because I'm a fan of The Descendants. I am. Unironically. Fight me. These movies have a huge, varied fan base of people who grew up watching them or people who got into it later in the pandemic, like me. But a huge fan base of varied ages. First, okay? And then second, kids' movies they don't exist in a vacuum where they will only be ingested by kids. They will be ingested by parents, by older siblings, by cousins, by family, by caregivers. Children's movies are not just for kids. They should be kid-friendly, but they don't need to be dumbed down for kids. Kids are not dumb. And I think dumbing down a story to appeal to children, to be more simple for children to understand, is just making a bad movie. You're doing a disservice to kids by holding their hand and calling them dumb, and also a disservice to the movie that you're supposed to be making because you don't rely on your storytelling enough, that they won't get it. It's too complex. Kids understand feelings because they have them. Shocking, I know. But kids have feelings. They have complex emotions that they're figuring out. Kids of all ages. Kids up to the age of 18, because yes, you're still a kid at 18. you're still kind of figuring things out. Even if they don't have the exact words to tell you, the framing on this scene is telling us, it's delving into the deeper life of this character. Even if they don't have that vocabulary, they understand, this character I like is hurting because her friend was mean to her. And she's being nice to her instead anyway. So I'm going to try to be nice to my friends anyway. Kids are sponges. They understand so much more. They have so much more emotional intelligence. They have so much more intelligence than people think. And this is a hill that I will die on. That children's movies do not need to be dumbed down. Also, I hate to be the one to tell you this, but the idea of teamwork and inclusivity are not that complex. It's really not. It's, hey, be nice to everyone, even if they're a little mean to you. Find the good in people. Hey, listen out to everyone, because someone else has a different experience than you, and you can learn something from that. That's not that complex, besties. It's not. And I know all of my viewers, you're all smart and sexy. I know that. And I know I'm preaching to the choir here. But it's for your mom in the next room over, okay? It's for your roommate. It's for your neighbor, because I know you have paper-thin walls. I want them to hear it. Be nice to everyone. And if there is one critique that I can get across through the camera, across the internet, to you guys, to you, my friend, to you, right here, you. And if there is one critique that I really, really want to get across that I think is this movie's failing, is that it feels like it was gutted and dumbed down for kids. Because it's meant to be for kids. And the second you start thinking that way, for any story, you shot yourself in the foot. You did. You just did. I think having that mindset is a disservice to the people you hired to play these roles. It's a disservice to the people that you hired to make this story come to life. It's a disservice to the audience who's paying to watch the movie. Because, yeah, you're paying for the movie with the Disney Plus subscription, and your money, and money talks, besties. Money talks. So, anyway, I'm going to step off my soapbox. I'm not getting off fully. I'm just going to sit down again. I'm going to sit back down on my soapbox, and we'll continue with the story. And again, we're going to talk more about what I think the theme of this movie originally was, / could have, should have, would have been in another universe. What the theming and the story that could have been told. Again, that's for part 2, bestie. We're going to put a pin in that, okay? Now, back to the story. Chloe and Red are in Ella's house. They're only allowed to hang around if they, help her do her chores, right? So they're just trying to talk to her. And again, I just want to reiterate this one more time. The best parts about this movie is when it is more subtle. Like, with Ella not ever telling her kids that she had a dark childhood, immediately, I want to snap again, I'm going to hurt my hand, but it immediately makes sense why Chad is a spoiled little kid. And why Chloe doesn't fully understand that while she thinks that she's a good person and the world is a little bit black and white for her, why that's not everyone else's experience. That immediately comes across. Love that. It's so good. But anyway, speaking of Chloe being more spoiled than she realizes, she's really clumsy in her glass boots, and not only that, but she doesn't know how to clean. Period. Her and Red, which I do appreciate. Red is better at faking it. She's better at, faking the dusting, but she's not dusting anything. Ella is actually, wiping down the chandelier. Red is not doing anything. And Chloe is just slip and sliding left, right, and center, and she ends up knocking over a vase. Which, is this direction? Is this actor work? Of showing that, yeah, our 2 princesses don't know how to clean a house? I have no idea, but it's a small detail that I really like. Ella, saying, does it count to be a good person if you get rewarded for it? Speaking about the boots, and that being the first crack in the glass for Chloe of, hey, black and white, the life that I know, the black and white life I know, isn't exactly what I think it is. She's starting to question her views, and that's only reinforced when she immediately knocks over a vase because she's clumsy and she's sliding around in glass shoes. And she gets Ella in trouble. Not herself, but she gets Ella in trouble. And I love, because of course Chloe would do this. She apologizes. And she goes, no, it was me. I'm so sorry. It won't happen again. And she expects it to be fixed. And she doesn't understand why apologizing isn't good enough. She doesn't grasp that, hey, I apologized. Everything's better now. Right? And you can kind of see it on her face that she doesn't fully get it. And she doesn't get it. She doesn't understand why evil stepmother only cares about her vase. She doesn't understand why apology doesn't work. Because for Chloe, if you break something, you apologize and everything's fine, everything's fixed. But that's not Ella's reality. Ella's reality is now she's grounded. Now her life is significantly harder. And because she's grounded, she probably won't be able to go to Castle Coming. Spoiler alert, we never see Castle Coming, we don't know. But she just made Ella's life harder. And Ella rightfully says, hey, your princess is showing, it's better if you just leave. Just go. I don't want to deal with this anymore. Totally valid, Ella. I get it. But she did help. She did tell them the VKs have their secret hideout at the Black Lagoon, and our girls are on their way to continue their next fetch quest. Yeah, I don't know how that timing works, personally. But they show up just in time. They see Uliana blow on her conch, and out from the depths comes a little dead fish with a big open mouth. And that's the clubhouse. Cool. That's fun, I guess. Again, don't know how that timing works, that they, did the VKs have detention? Is that why they're getting there so late? Who knows? Not me. But our girls climb to the top of the dead fish. We don't see them climb to the top of the dead fish because we follow the VKs in, but they get to the top of the dead fish, they rip open the top, which is just rude. Destruction of private property, but go off, queens. And we get our 6th song. I believe it's our 6th song. It's called Perfect Revenge. And, again, I almost like the song. The beat is sick. The production, the beat, it's sick. The aesthetic is there. But the lyrics suck. They don't flow. And I will say, the person who played Maleficent, I love her. I think that she is so fun. Let's prick her with 1,000 thorns. Ugh. So good. But no, okay, so, here's a really good example of, the flow not working. Maleficent goes, we'll prick her with 1,000 thorns. And Uliana goes, what, and make her fall asleep? No, they must be worse than all of these. And it just doesn't sound right. Sleep in these don't work. It's just weird. The flow is just off. Ugh, but again, I do love Maleficent. I think she has 2 lines in the entire movie, and she's just my favorite. Yeah, I wish the song was better, because, the vibe is there. The dancing, I don't know what they were trying to have, a TikTok dance. I don't think that they were. Every now and then you can kind of tell when a movie's trying to sneak in a TikTok dance for marketing purposes, and I don't think that that's the case. I just think it was just, a fun dance number, honestly. Also, I do want to take a moment to just say how much I love the VKs that they did choose to be in this little, gang. The fact that they have Maleficent and Hades when Mal is the next former main character. I think that's really fun. The fact that they grew up being friends with Hook and Uliana, so subsequently Ursula, setting up that, because if you didn't know, the actress playing Mal, Dove Cameron, and the actor playing Hook, I don't know his name, they were dating when they filmed movie 2. And the way that they play their characters is they play Hook Jr. And Mal, they play them as if they're exes, so there's, a lot of, flirty tension between them, which is just really fun. It's just a really fun choice. Does not affect the story at all. But the fact that that's how they played the characters, so now, in the past, having the parents be friends makes sense. And the fact that, Hook and Uma are friends in the future, and that Uma and Mal are rivals in the future because of a childhood conflict, it just makes sense. There was clearly thought put into this, except for Morgie. Why is Morgie here? No one knows. I have a theory, but that's for tinfoil hat time. But yeah, no, I really appreciate, as someone who likes Descendants, I was gonna say as a Descendants head, and then I changed my mind and I didn't commit, but I flipped my hair anyway. But, as, a Descendants fan, I just want to say, I noticed that. I noticed the attention to detail, and I appreciate it. Thank you. I just appreciate it, that's all. The praise very quickly stops, because here the girls learn that the villains plan to... The villains plan to embarrass Bridget. 1, they get the plan by magic? How do they actually get this plan? Because they don't think of it. She, summons it from a crystal ball, and the crystal ball tells her what to do. And she's, mad. She's like, what? A book? What are you talking about? And then they find out it's the Sorcerer's Cookbook, and that they should bake her an evil cupcake, so that then they force her to eat it, and she becomes a monster. In front of everyone. Ah! Okay. And it's moments like this that have me wondering if this was written during the writer's strike. Just saying. Because, like, it don't make a lick of sense. It don't. Like, what do you mean? The thing that turned the Queen of Hearts to the evil Queen of Hearts, so much so that she was sequestered and locked away because she's so evil, she's killing people. Even after all the other villains are brought back, she's too evil. Her, over there. She's too evil. We can't bring her. Because she decapitates people. Her. Because you embarrassed her? Oh my god, I can't. Because you embarrassed her? Oh my god. Again, don't dumb down your kids for a movie audience. Just make a good movie that kids can also enjoy. Golly. Because this is not good stakes. This is just not a good story. Unfortunately. It's just not a good story. It's not enough. It's not enough. But anyway, the villains are satisfied with this vision of a cookbook. And they run off. Which, again, why? This is such a small thing, but it's my video. The fact that the villains make their plan and leave is so weird. Because they're supposed to be friends. Just let them hang out. Just have the girls leave instead. Like, what are you talking about? And, like, this, I think this also aggravates me because this next scene, one, the dead fish clubhouse doesn't look great. It's not bad for a Disney movie. It's not bad. It ain't awful. But the dead fish goes down, and as our heroes, Red and Chloe, as they are skipping across the stones to get back onto shore to go, like, to leave, a giant evil eel comes out to grab Chloe's foot and to try to pull her in, and it takes up a solid 2 minutes. Maybe. I didn't time it. But it takes like a solid 2 minutes. And it looks awful. It does not look good. It does not look good at all. And it adds nothing to the story. It didn't need to be there. Why is the giant eel there? I know it's a reference to Flopsum and Jepsum. I know. Because my uncle used to call me and my brother Flopsum and Jepsum. I know who they are. I understand that it's a reference to Ursula and the Little Mermaid and that it's her evil little eel fishy thingies. But what does that have to do with this story? Nothing. Cut it. Just cut it. And I think it's even more egregious because you know that cost money. Good money that could have gone to Chloe's wig. But no, we have to have the evil eel in there. Anyway, the entire scene feels off. It does. And it sucks because this could have been such a kick-ass villain song. It's catchy, it's fun, it makes you kind of want to dance, but the lyrics aren't there. And again, the villains are putting their whole heart into it. Let's pick her with $1,000. I love her so much. That's my favorite character. But no, they're genuinely putting their all into it. They deserve so much more. Anyway, after this, the girls go back to Merlin Academy, to go visit Bridget in her dorm. And there are a few things that happen in the scene. First, we get to see Bridget's dorm, which is modeled after a more traditional Wonderland. It's pink, it's pastel, it's whimsical. She has like a little easy bake oven. It's not an easy bake oven, it's like an actual oven that I think you can buy on Amazon. And that I low-key want. But no, her dorm, it's cute. It's cute. It's whimsical, there's mushrooms, there's flowers. I am a fan. And Red is taken aback. She's taken aback by something this cute that could still, like, represent Wonderland. Because it very clearly, like, still represents Wonderland, which is her home. And she's like, this isn't the home that I know. And she makes a comment about something this cute wouldn't be allowed back home. And Bridget goes, like, well, who would outlaw fun? And Red says, our queen. AKA, my mom. Which is, like, a little cringy, I will say. But, you know, we get it. It's her mom. She's so different now. I heard you the first time. It's okay. And, okay. Hold on. I'm finishing this stitch so I can put this down so I can talk to you again. So, this is where we get the song, Shuffle of Love. And in this scene, we get to see Bridget play with her deck of cards, right? Pretend to have a deck of cards. And the same thing that she does as a full-grown adult. She's doing these card tricks. She's making a fan. The body double is doing some cool, fun things with the cards. And she puts on her headphones and she's saying that she's practicing her signature move for Castle Coming, the Shuffle of Love. And she puts on her headphones, and so we hear the music. The girlies in the scene do not hear the music. They absolutely just see her jamming by herself, which is funny. You know, in a vacuum, that's actually very funny. It wasn't supposed to be, but it is. And when I first watched this movie, I was like, why is this song here? It's a short, 30-second clip. It doesn't make much sense. It feels very out of place. But again, I've listened to the album more times than you will ever claw out of me. I've listened to the full song, The Shuffle of Love. And I'm convinced that this was supposed to be for a different scene. I think, and we'll delve more into this in the tinfoil hat segment, I think that this was supposed to be either a mother-daughter moment between Red and Bridget, the same way that Chloe and Ella are going to have in a second, or it was supposed to be the opening number for Castle Coming. It could still be the opening number for Castle Coming. But because it feels like the story was gutted and shuffled around, they're like, well, we produced it. It has to be on the album. We'll put it somewhere. We're just going to put it here. Okay? Okay. So it feels out of place. It feels weird. But we do still have a mother-daughter moment with Red and Bridget tells her, and Bridget gets to tell her in a very way too intense way for a kid to be saying to another kid, well, if I was your mother, I'd be proud to have a daughter who thinks for herself, which is very sweet and absolutely healed a little crack that Red had in her heart. Again, out of context, it's a really, really silly scene. And the actress playing Bridget, what's her name? Ruby Rose Turner. She is putting her whole heart into it. The script is just not doing her any favors. I believe her when she says that. She means it. But the script is just not helping her. And I do want to call out a line from The Shuffle of Love. We do not hear it in the segment, but I'm going to call it out for us to put a pin in for later. Pick a card, any card. What is it? Don't say. Is it Queen of Hearts? My favorite all day. 'Cause I'm all about love and I've got it in spades. That's so cute. We were robbed. Which, again, this also just fuels my theory. I think it was meant to be heartbreak. I think she was supposed to have her heart shattered. And not just a prank. But it got gutted and boiled down. We also see that Bridget has the magic mirror, the looking glass, excuse me, not the magic mirror. Evie has that. It's called the looking glass. And it's a heart-shaped compact where you can look and you can see the future, which is such a fun relic for the Wonderland royal lineage. The Wonderland royal lineage to have, Alice through the looking glass. I like that. Whoever thought of that, may your pillow always be cold. And apparently Bridget has never looked into it. She's a fan of surprises. She wants to be surprised by the future. She's optimistic in that way, which is so cute. But our girlies take a moment to look to see how the future is going. Have they changed it already? No. And they know, here's the thing. They know that they haven't changed it because they haven't done anything. So why are they checking? You know what I mean? But they do. Curiosity gets the best of them. They check how's it going back home. And why is Charming there? They peek into the future, and Charming is there on his knees in front of Queenie, Queen of Hearts. And what does she say? She's like, look what's become of your beloved queen, or look what's become of your beloved, and she drops the glass slippers for them to shatter in front of him. Drama. Love it. But why is he there? He's supposed to be at university. He's supposed to be at the university cheering on his son. So, headcanon. Bridget realized that Charming's not there, and she sent people out to go find him just to have this dramatic moment for fun. Because she's a queen who loves theatrics. And I can't blame her. That's called being a supervillain. That's called being iconic. Okay? What's the difference between being a villain and a supervillain? Presentation! And so now our girls... So they originally went to Bridget's room to see if she had the Sorcerer's Cookbook, by the way. They didn't just go for no reason. But they go to ask because she's a baker. She's supposed to have a copy of every cookbook, which is just such a big task to ask of anyone, honestly. But they go and they're like, well, maybe she has it, or she knows something about it. She doesn't. And they're like, okay, new plan. And so Bridget tells them that if it's an evil cookbook, Merlin probably has it locked up in his office for safekeeping. Right? And this is where our girls butt head, because Red says, let's steal it. And Chloe says, let's tell the teacher. Come on. Conflict. Chloe is along the lines of, like, not wanting to stoop to their level, that they're out of their league, tend to tell a teacher, someone who's more in charge, to handle it, and to not to be a villain kid, not to be evil. Don't steal, that's bad. Red says she's a villain kid. It doesn't matter. She's gonna go steal it. And Chloe is now facing a moral dilemma, and she has no idea what to do. So she's like, I need to talk to my mom, because I'm still a kid. Yes, you are, baby. You are. And, which leads to this really funny interaction where she goes to talk to Ella, and Ella's like, I'm still kind of mad at you. Like, what are you doing here? And she's like, well, I want to talk to my mom. And, like, Ella very clearly, like, feels bad for her. Or she's like, yeah, no, this kid wants her mom, and there's no one else who's going to talk to her. She can talk at me, I guess. I still have, I got things I need to do in the yard. And she just kind of lets her follow her around, which is really funny. But this springboards us in to our 8th song, 7.5, which is Get Your Hands Dirty, which the first time I heard it, I really liked. Now I don't like it nearly as much. I think it goes on way too long. Gotta get your hands dirty. It also doesn't feel like a last song. I also had this problem with Frozen 2, where, like, the last song of this movie musical doesn't feel like it's supposed to be the last one. I feel like there's supposed to be one more, you know? But this is technically the last song, because the final song is a reprise of Life is Sweet, which is an okay last song, but we'll get there. But again, I do appreciate the moral of this, that sometimes you have to bend the rules to follow your heart and stick to your morals and do what you think is right. And the idea that sometimes there are uncomfortable things that you have to do what is right, to do what is right by you. You have to stick to your own morals. And only you can decide that. And I really like that. I genuinely do. Stick to your guns, kids. But now it's time for the climax of the movie. Yeah, I know. Wild. Chloe decides to join Red into breaking into Merlin's office. And I want to point out, why the hell does Chloe change her clothes? We've all heard about the magic changing wig that Chloe has, where her hair is never the same between scene to scene, midway scene, her hair's changing lengths, colors, textures. I get that. I hear you. But the clothes? The wigs I can excuse, but come on. Again, like, was there a scene that was cut that we just don't know of? This is a completely different outfit. She's in a dress now. What? What are you talking about? Ugh. I do think this should have been her outfit the entire time, by the way. I do like this outfit best. Anyway, they break into Merlin's office, which is guarded by sentinel owls. Not sentient, sentinels. So they're statues that once something is touched, their eyes light up, they come alive, and they have to go tell Merlin what happened. They're just lookouts, basically. Sentinels. And they start to, like, defend the office, kind of, but their choreography is just not good. It's just not. The CGI is not good, the choreography is not good. I do appreciate the round table, the swords that come up. So what happens is Red goes to reach for the book. Why doesn't she just move the ladder over instead of just reaching until she almost falls? Drama. But the owls awaken and they start swarming on the girls, and in the middle of the office, there's a big round table that has the swords from Arthurian legend. So it has, like, the round table with, like, 8 swords, I think. The Knights of the Round Table. And they start attacking, and thus the big fight happens. And the choreography is not that good. And, like, again, this is the moment where Chloe is, like, supposed to be like, oh, my sword training has paid off. I'm here. And she has her sword, which... Sure. She could have just grabbed a sword from the office. She didn't need to carry her sword around the entire movie. It's dumb. But she has her sword. She's sword fighting. She's winning. The swords, like, as if it was a video game boss fight, they defeat round 1, and then round 2 happens. And now, instead of just swords, now there's a knight. I think is reference to movie 2, where the knights showed up, because this was everyone's favorite dance sequence when this movie came out, I believe. If not, it's at least, like, the marketing's favorite. But They dive under the table. They're trying to fight. Red dives out to get the book. Chloe takes off her shoes and throws it at the owl into the fireplace. Both shoes, thus shattering the gift that her mom gave her. Instead of anything else in the office. Like, I understand that you're under the table, but you got out from under the table to throw the shoes. You couldn't grab a paperweight? Like, girl, now you just don't have shoes. You need shoes to walk around. Girl, and I know it's supposed to be symbolic. It's just so deep. She's giving up her princess ways. No, she's not. She's still a princess. She's still Cinderella's daughter. She still doesn't know that much. You know, she knows more, but she's still a little naive, you know? So I just don't think that this metaphor hits as hard as they think it did, because she doesn't change much throughout the movie. Not enough, anyway. And you can make the argument that she changes from her black and white thinking to a little bit of a morally gray outlook on life, and that's why she gives up the reward for being a good person. That's not even an argument, now that I say it out loud. Yeah, no, it's just supposed to be, I don't even know what it's supposed to be. It's not her giving up her privilege, because that's not, like, a big thing in it. It was, like, her connection, it's her connection to her mom. It's her throwing the shoes, I guess, is supposed to symbolize, like, I'm not a princess anymore, Mom. I've learned hard life lessons. I'm a different person. Which is only kind of true. But again, the metaphor just doesn't hit the way that they think it did. They didn't do what they think they did. And I think it's just because the characters don't learn much, period. It just feels like a big fetch quest. Chloe has the one song of, like, internal work where she's learning that the world's not as black and white, but what does that have to do with her crushing her shoes that she got for being a good person? Did she realize that she wasn't a good person because she was aiming for a reward? Does she realize that she is spoiled and that people don't... What? I've probably done 8 takes trying to verbalize what the crushing of the shoes is supposed to symbolize, and every time I start talking, I get halfway through and realize that it doesn't make any gosh darn sense. Anyway. The villains show up. So yeah, they succeed. They fight off the Owl Sentinels, and the villains show up anyway, and they come and snatch the cookbook. And so Chloe hands it over, and she lets them open it, and it freezes them in place. Chloe says because the cookbook is cursed, so only, like, a pure of heart person can open it. Like, someone with bad hands can't open it. There's some phrase that they use, that they can't open it. And Red is like, well, these are the baddest hands around. You have to open it, you know? And Chloe's like, no, you're not bad. Everything you've done is for the greater good. You're a good person, Red. And she lets her open it. And it's fine. It's proof that she's a good person. She has a good heart. But now, besties. You guys are smart and sexy, and I'm sure you have the same question that I had, which is, if the cookbook was cursed, if someone with bad intentions couldn't open it, how did they use it in the past? Wouldn't have just done the same thing? Also, hey girlies, before you go back home, why don't you check in the looking glass that you actually fix things? They're on campus. They could just run to Bridget's dorm. It's not that big of a campus. And they have time travel. It's okay if they're, like, a little late, you know? That's not how that works. So, but no. That's it. That's the movie. They go home. I wish I was kidding. No, they just go home after this. And apparently they left the cookbook in Merlin's office. But we only know this because the actor that plays Morgie posted this picture on his Instagram. And so implying that, hey, Morgie has the cookbook, setting up for the sequel. And I know, like, stills and behind the scenes, like, shouldn't be considered canon. That, you know, they shouldn't be considered canon to the movie. But this feels like it was posted as a pushback to people not liking the ending. Because this is a really clear photo. This isn't like a backstage photo. This isn't like a secret photo dump photo of them working. No, this is like a professionally done photo. But that's the entire movie. The girls go home to the exact moment before the Queen of Hearts staged a coup, but except now, instead of being in an all red dress, she turns around and the front is white. And now she shuffles and says she wants to play her favorite game, and she throws the cards in the air and she says, "Hearts!" instead of "War!" And bubble of hearts start popping off, and there's just hearts everywhere. And Red goes, "Mom, And she runs and she hugs her mom, and her mom's like, I'm so proud of you. I love you so much. I'm just so happy for you. I'm just so proud of you. And Uma says, well, there's nothing I say that could top that. Have a good year. And they do a reprise of Life is Sweeter, and everyone's dancing. And I will say Rita Ora and Kylie Chanterelle sound fantastic harmonizing together. Their voices, they merge. They mesh so well. And then, to keep with Descendants tradition, Uma's voiceover comes in with a twist on the traditional ending. And she says, aw, what a sweet happy ending. Everyone got what they wanted, but getting what you want can be dangerous, especially when you mess with the fabric of time. You didn't think that was the end of the story, did you? Scene. Now, did you feel dissatisfied? Because I sure did. But that's the movie. I wish I was kidding. What about Castle Coming is everyone's question. So what are my final thoughts? I think this movie's all over the place. It reeks of not quite reshoots, but of things not going to plan, of scenes being gutted and left on the cutting room floor, and holes in the story. It reeks of we needed to change these plot points yesterday, and it doesn't help that apparently there are rumors of 30 minutes of deleted scenes that just got left on the cutting room floor. On top of, hey, storyboards are starting to leak. Uh-oh. Yeah, apparently there's a whole segment of Life is Sweeter that would have included Tiana, which, I've heard it. It sounds so good. And also makes the merging into the villains song better. Because when the villains come in, they're saying something and you don't quite know what they're saying because the line that they're supposed to be parroting got cut out. So that doesn't make sense. And then also back to this character. Yay. So this is, she was originally touted to be Rapunzel. Then the name got changed to Zelly. Then it got changed to Meadow. And apparently she was supposed to have a much bigger part in the movie. And in some of the musical numbers, which is why she's, like, photographed with her little, like, lyre thing. Lyre, lyre, fake guitar looking thing. And I also think this is why Chloe's wig is so atrociously inconsistent throughout the movie, is because there's a movie that is cut and pasted together in post. And it's held together with gum, duct tape, and a prayer, you know? And that's why 2 different characters fully change outfits in scenes where it does not make sense that they would change outfits. They change with zero justification in the story, and they change with what seems like no realistic time for them to change their full-ass outfit. So, I don't know, it just feels a little odd, feels a little stinky if you ask me. And again, this could be, like, because of the writer's strike. There could have been a producer pulling on too many strings. There could have been just a bunch of things. There could have been a million things that went wrong, and we might never know what they are, which is frustrating. It just feels like there were scenes that were completely chopped and just left voids in their wake, honestly. But now, tinfoil hat time, like I said. I think that they wrote this movie and then realized that they want to make it a duology, or a trilogy. Duology? Duo? More than one. Or even a trilogy. So they took the story that was already written for one movie and just stretched it out. And then started filling it in, and then realized we're putting too much in. We gotta take some of it out. And thus leaving us with what we have currently. This is why we got that huge lead up to Castle Coming. This entire first movie, the entire lead up is to Castle Coming. This moment that we never get to see. Ever. Because I think they have to go back in time again, next movie. And Castle Coming is either going to be the opening scene or, like, that is the movie, is Castle Coming. Like, the day and the night of Castle Coming is going to be movie 2. I think they realize, oh, we've overcorrected. Oh no, things are going wrong. Like, maybe Red is starting to disappear, or Chloe her reputation is something totally different than what she thought it was. Or because Morgie got left with the cookbook, now he's an even bigger villain in the future, and they have to go back again and just completely revamp and fix it again. This time being extra careful not to erase themselves, or ruin Bridget again. And I think that would probably be the conflict between Red and Chloe. Red wants to keep her mom the same because it's the mom that she's always wanted. And Chloe is like, but for the greater good, we need to make a change. Something has to give. You know, something along those lines. All that being said, the past hour, 59 minutes, and 43 seconds being said, I still think this movie has a lot of charm to it. I think it's really fun. I think there are a lot of moments that I really like. The cast, again, is so talented. They're so charming. They bring so much life to these characters. And I want to see the next one. I do. Like, I have literally gone out of my way to see the live performances from this cast because they are so talented and they are such good performers. And I want to see the next movie do better than this one did. Not like money-wise. I mean, yes, money-wise, because then they're going to make a third one, and the actors and the creatives behind the movie stay in work. We always want creatives to have work. But I think I want it to be received by the audience better. Because I think that these actors have a really promising future. And I don't want them... And I want to see them, like, show off, you know? I just want everyone to do good. Yeah, and they're such talented performers. And when you see them perform live, it at least from an outside perspective, looks like they're really putting their all into it, and I hope that that's the case. I hope that they're having fun playing these characters. I hope that this is a fulfilling job for them, and that it's everything they could ever want, because I love seeing talented people, creative people, succeed in their art form. I love it. I love it. So, and I hope they're being treated well by Disney, personally. And it's because of them, because of the life that they put into these characters and the life that they've injected into the story that was seriously lacking. They're the reason why the movie, in my opinion, in my personal opinion, was so successful. And why people are talking about it. It's why I wanted to talk about it. Because I watched this film, and I see these characters, and I see the creative hands behind this, and I'm like, I know that there's a good story in there. I can feel it in my bones. And so now, tinfoil hat off, and author/story archaeologist hat on. I wish I had an archaeologist hat like Indiana Jones, but I don't. We're gonna pretend. So what movie do I see in this mess? In this ruins? And I do want to preface this. I'm going to set some parameters here. We're not making pure fanfiction. I want to keep as much from the original story as possible, including the themes, the songs. We're keeping all the songs in there, baby. We're not cutting a single one. I am going to suggest rewording some of them, but the songs are staying. And then the aesthetics. Not including the costumes. We're going to talk about changing the costumes, and I'll tell you why in a second. But the aesthetics have to stay in line with the original vision of this movie. We're just sprucing it up a bit. We're just polishing it off. We're playing in the sandbox with the same toys, baby. Versus fanfiction, where you're playing in the sandbox, but you bring your own toys. You know, you get the metaphor. Anyway, so everyone, go take a pee break. Refill on your beverage. Take this moment to wind up the yarn that absolutely ran away from you, that you've been too lazy to go pick up. Let's jump into it. So I don't think the opening's going to be much different. I think we're still going to have the voiceover from Uma about the original cast being off, you know, forming new adventures, forming new alliances. I think that it was a good send-off for these characters who, at the end of the last movie, formed a peace treaty with the villains, and now they're like, we're going to go do it elsewhere and fortify our kingdom. I like that. I think that's very fun. I am going to change that with Uma and Fairy Godmother being left in charge. Except, this time, Fairy Godmothers, we're not gonna mention Ordon University. It's just more information to put into the story that doesn't super add anything. The only thing that it really ties back to is where Chad is, and, you know, where our former characters are. You know, all of our former characters, it's a way to wave your hand and be like, they're at university, yay! We don't need that. I think Chad being at university, that's enough. That's all that needs to be mentioned. So now, this time, I think Fairy Godmother is in charge of the crown, and Uma is in charge of the school. Okay? Like, Uma is still taking up the mantle of principal, and she's going to continue taking the mantle of principal. And I think Uma still proposes to send an invitation to Red to start bringing over Wonderland kids and start opening those borders. And Fairy Godmother tries to protest. She says it's not a good idea, that it's dangerous to open the gates to Wonderland, and that she was left in charge, just for Uma to strike back. We were both left in charge. We're meant to work together to keep the kingdom running, don't you remember? Plus, is what Carlos would have wanted. He always had a soft spot for strays, after all. Yes, I am putting my own joke in there. Sue me. And we are going to keep Carlos dead in this scenario. I'm so sorry. It feels so crass. And we are going to keep Carlos dead and do exactly what Disney did. And he has a beautiful photo up on the wall, and we're paying homage to him that way. Because I don't want to risk disrespecting his memory. Should Disney, the corporation, know more about what his loved one's wishes more than me? Just saying. And I do genuinely think it's a beautiful tribute. I do. And then swish, swash, swoosh. Over the bridge and through the woods, down the rabbit hole to Wonderland. And we're keeping this a lot of the same. I really like the aesthetic of Wonderland. I like the neonness, the underground feeling. I love that we see the mushrooms. I am a fan of this, and I do like Red as an opening number. Like I said, it's one of my favorite songs, so we're just gonna keep it. But I do want to take a moment to talk about Red's characterization. And what else can this opening number tell us about our main character, right? We know, you and me, because we're both smart and sexy, we know that Mommy Dearest wants to make Red a mini-me. She wants her to be the next evil queen, right? That is part of Red's story, okay? So how can we show that from moment one? I think in her little vandal outfit, we're cutting a lot of the red. I know, shocking. But hear me out. I think we're going to go with a more black and white aesthetic with a crap ton of pouches a la Batman. Hear me out. She has red hair. Her name is Red. She is absolutely forced to wear red lipstick. The color red has been forced on her entire life. So when she gets the chance to choose how to express herself in the truest sense, under the cover of Nightfall, how would she present her world how would she present herself without any expectations? I'm seeing a lot of black and white. Maybe a checkered pattern that might be too on the nose for Wonderland, but black and white, maybe spades, maybe we can even do broken hearts, like that's fine. Clovers, diamonds, black and white diamonds, there's something there. And she's still going to have red. I want red accents. Maybe little red hearts. But it's going to be on the outside, the outer layer. It's going to have the most minimal amount of red as possible. The red we do see is going to be the undershirt peeking out from under her jacket. It's going to be the lining of her hood, the lining of her jacket, if we can see it, and her hair. The idea being that no matter what, she is still her mother's daughter. On the inside. And she's trying to actively hide it with her own identity, especially right now, where she's being a vandal. And anytime that we see her being more of herself, I want more black and white with red underlayers. So either the shirt poking out, the mesh of her shirt, the mesh of her pants, her shoes, red peeking through, but never quite being the dominant color. Contrasting that with later on, where we see her presented next to her mother, her outer layers are going to be red, black, and then the inside being black and white. Now, why the pouches, you might ask? She has to put her paint bomb somewhere. I think there's a really fun opportunity for her to be really good at sleight of hand. She is her mother's daughter. Her mother loves card tricks. She's always doing something funky with her hands. She would absolutely make sure that Red knew how to do that from a young age. Again, trying to make her mini-me. And so I love this idea of she has, not only would she have her own deck of cards in one of the pouches, but, hidden pockets everywhere, whether it be cargo pants, whether it be she pops open this and there's something hidden in here and clips back up. Hidden superhero pockets, I think, is a really fun idea for this character who is sneaky and clever and sly and quick hands, Not necessarily a thief. She's a princess. She wouldn't need to be a thief, but she's a trickster. She likes to cause havoc. Strict parents make sneaky kids. I like the idea that she has these secret pockets where she hides things, just to store away for later, just in case. Whether it be little magic items, her own deck of cards, Or, in this opening number, she has the paint bombs. Little sneaky things, I think is very fun. And she can still wreak havoc. She's still cutting the roses. She's throwing paint bombs. She's still running everywhere. This opening number is still really fun. I like how much havoc she's wreaking. I would change the paint bombs to be black and white instead of red, as we know. Again, trying to paint the town how she sees it. And also, in the original Queen of Hearts, this whole thing is she wants to paint the roses red. Her daughter's painting them white, baby. She says, no. You got to forge your own identity. I want to forge mine. And we can even have a moment where we see a beautiful red rose dripping with white paint. I am open to cutting that for time to keep this opening scene, the pacing going. But I think it's a fun visual and I'm pointing it out. Also, we're keeping the power pose. The power pose with the sparks behind her. Oh, iconic. We're keeping that. That's just so fun. And my first watch through, I thought that these were fireworks that were going off. I didn't question it. I was just like, oh yeah, there's fireworks. Wee. And then the second time, I thought it was guards, like, throwing magic bombs at her to, like, trip her up or what. But no, it's her. That's not clear enough. Like, she's throwing, like, magic sparks for some reason, and it's never brought up again, and I think it should be. In my version, she is just, like, a little magic. She's not Mal level of magic, where she can just do magic and her hands glow or whatever, a la Scarlet Witch. No. But the idea of, like, magic items, magic trinkets, magic cards, I think would work really well with this character. And just making that clear that she's the one causing everything that's happening. Things aren't happening to her, she's causing them to wreak havoc. She's just having fun. Also, one of my favorite moments in this is her, like, mocking the guards. Like, her little, like, that's really fun, and I do want to keep more like that. I would want another moment where she's picking the guards' pockets. Maybe that's where she gets the shears to cut the roses, She steals them from one of the guards. Just setting up her ability to do sleight of hand. In my version, Red, she's clever and she's an opportunist. Strict parents, clever kids, But because of that, she's a little impulsive. She is kind of always ready and willing for the shoe to drop, and the second it drops, she's ready to bolt. She's ready to do whatever she needs to the moment it comes up. Because she has to. Because if she waits for the opportunity to present itself, it never will. Her mother, just overbearing. And then we can also see this in how she gets the watch from Maddox. Maddox still saves her, because no matter how clever she is, she's still outnumbered, she still gets cornered, and Maddox still has to save her, and he still cares about her. That is still his baby girl. I shouldn't say that, I don't know how old he is. But I think he's cool, and he still saves her, he's a good friend. And I think this is a really good chance to show that he knows her. He still shows her the watch, when you're older, I have this ready for you. And she goes to grab it, and he puts it in his pocket. She goes to hug him, and maybe that's the first, she tries to get the watch. And he goes, absolutely not. And he goes, no, I know you, bestie. We're not doing that. But she's even cleverer. When he puts the watch in a hiding spot, she goes, oh, you caught me, da-da-da-da-da. And, maybe she knocks something over. She pretends to be ditzy. She pretends to be clumsy. Maybe she does a fun little card trick. But there's a moment of sleight of hand where she steals the watch again anyway. And she gets away with it. Because she's clever. I like the idea of, like, she leaves a calling card. Again, this is very, very Saint Tail. I don't know if anyone's going to know that anime. It's very Saint Tail coded, leaving the idea of, like, the red heart card, like the Ace of Hearts card. I think that's very funny. And she would be the Ace of Hearts because her mom's the Queen of Hearts. She's the Ace of Hearts, baby. But yeah, she does a fun little distraction and a quick sleight of hand. She gets it out of the drawer and she's gone. And again, she gets sent away in the big tube. She comes falling down into her giant heart bed, which I love. I love the giant heart bed. And she goes, oh, well, you look at that. And she doesn't use it just yet because she's not quite ready. It's fine. We can even have a moment where she, like, goes to press it and then doesn't. Could be fun. Not just her, like, looking longingly at it. Or we can have her looking longingly at it. It's not that important. Anyway, bam! We meet Chloe! And we still meet her sword fighting. She's still sword fighting with her dad. I love this. I love that she gets mad at him for cheating. Because she does disarm him. And he goes with the dagger. Dagger is like a little cookie breadstick thing. Sorry. Anyway, to pretend to be a dagger. And he goes, that's cheating. And he goes, no, that's clever. I think that's very fun. And I think it's very important to her character that we have this idea of fair and right and rules, and she is a stickler. Very, 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 very limited mindset, even more so than movie Chloe. I love that she gets mad at him for cheating. I think it's very important to her character of things that are fair and right and done correctly. If you're going to do it right type mindset, right? We can even reinforce it. Maybe she doesn't want to run around. Maybe they have to stick to the linear path. They have to stay in the ring. Anything outside, that's cheating. You can't do that. If we're going to play, we're playing by the rules. I want to be the best in this game. The game has rules. You know, instead of running around and being all action hero-y, very, very strict, very determined, and still, like, playful. Like, she's still playful. She's still playing with her dad, you know? But we can have a moment of, you know, we sent you to Shields and Swords Camp to whatever his line is. And you know, she can, I don't know what his line is. And she can shoot back with, well, you sent me to Shields and Sword Camp to be the best, and I want to be the best. I'm gonna be the best. I'm going to Oradon. And she does say something along the lines of, like, I'm representing Cinderella's-burg. I'm representing our family, our kingdom. I was given the chance to be the best. I'm going to be the best. And that involves following the rules. Very, very limited mindset. Very narrowing in on her goal. And now we have these two girls that should not be able to work together. One that is ready and willing to do anything the second a moment arises, shown by her pickpocketing guards, shown by her doing fun parkour, and being able to think on her feet and be quick. And one that always wants to follow and do what's right by staying in her lane, by training the fundamentals. They could even be doing freaking repetitions. Like, instead of meeting with a sword fight, we show up on her doing repetitions with her dad, learning fundamentals, and then they do a sword fight. And then he cheats, and she's like, I don't know, you can't do that. That's cheating. No. You have to stay in the goal. Tale as old as time. These two conflicting forces that have to work together. So simple, so easy. And since we're talking about Chloe, I do want to take a second to talk about Chloe's design, okay? I'm getting rid of the blue hair. I am. And not entirely. Not entirely. Just hear me out, okay? Descendants has a history of the only people who have unnaturally colored hair are the VKs. Villain kids, for those non-descendant heads in the audience. They're the only ones that have unnaturally colored hair, whether it be for magic or just villainry, or they are the only ones with cool hairstylists. Don't know. But canonically, the only ones that we have seen so far who have colored hair are the VKs. Except for Audrey, who had colored streaks in her hair when she turned evil for a movie. Again, reinforcing that the only way you have unnaturally colored hair is if for villainry. So we have this established rule, so now having a royal kid break that rule, it doesn't feel quite right, right? But, Chloe has Chad as an older brother. Hear me out, hold on, hear me out. She has Chad as an older brother, so she has seen firsthand the VK's kids' integration into Oradon Prep and Royal Society. Good People Society, Hero Society, whatever you want to call it. And she's probably heard not great things from her dope of a brother. You know, he came around in the end, but like there's a few years of touch and go there, where he's a little prejudiced. And so, Chloe, thinking that she's a good and accepting person, well, she's more progressive than her brother. She's more progressive than the older generation. And now, with all these VK kids coming into school, well, the hot new thing is to have colored hair. So what does she do? Baby, she dyes the bottom half bright blue. Maybe not bright blue, but she dyes the bottom half blue. Like, there's a full, here, down, blue. It's trendy, it's cool, it's a hot new thing to show your acceptance to the VK kids. It's the older kids who don't get it. They don't get the cool kids. The cool kids with the colored hair? Nah, man, I want to be friends with them. I'm cool and accepting. I'm Chloe. She thinks that she's being so grunge and so... she thinks that she's being so punk rock. Sure, Chloe. Sure thing, babe. Whatever you say. I know you're thinking that Mal did this back in Descendants 3, where she dyed her purple hair all blonde and just had the little purple tips coming through, you know, as a reminder of her old self. Well, this is the exact opposite of that. Mal did it as to pay homage that she is a villain kid. She was trying to fit in with the royals, so she dyed her hair blonde. But here, Chloe's doing the opposite. She doesn't entirely know who she is just yet, and she's trying to figure it out, and she knows she wants to do the good thing, and the good thing is to accept people who are different, and so she's trying it on for size. Can I be accepting? Can I be like them? Can I show them that I'm cool like them? It's awkward teen years, you know? She's trying it on for size. She thinks that that's what the cool kids are doing, what a good person does. She wears her heart in her sleeve, and she shows her tolerance for villainy in her hair. Now, as for her natural hair, while I am impartial to brown, personally, screw it, make her blonde. Make her match her brother so neither of them match their parents. I don't know, but that makes sense in my head, and I find that funny. And I don't want to be a big brother apologist here, but make none of them match, and we'll just accept it. I don't know, but that just makes sense in my brain. It does. But again, she doesn't need to be blonde. She can have dark hair with blue tips. They did it on Charming, where even though it was dark, you could still see the vibrancy of the blue. So it genuinely doesn't matter. I just think it's really funny if both kids are blonde and both of the parents have dark hair. Because, like, where did they come from? Are they adopted? Maybe. I think that's fun. And we can still keep Ella with the blue hair if we really want to. I do think Brandy looks good, but that's just, she's Brandy. What do you want from me? She looks good. And again, if we're painting the idea that acceptance and tolerance is being shown through aesthetics and fashion choices, maybe Ella does dye her hair completely blue. Maybe when the border went down, she was the first one to do it as a sign of solidarity with Oregon for accepting villain kids, for the new queen who has purple hair, so she doesn't feel left out. Or maybe, like her husband, they both have dark hair. You know, they're starting to age. They got a little silver behind the ears, and that's the place where they put the blue. You know, they just dye their grays bright blue. Could we say that because with age comes wisdom and acceptance of different cultures and backgrounds? Sure. Does that translate into movie form? No. But I don't care. This is my movie. So we are going with that either they have dyed their hair in solidarity with their new queen, although it's like Queen Alliance, or they've dyed their grays to go blue for fun. Screw it, it's my video. We're doing the gray theory. Wherever they have gray hair, they've now dyed blue. Fun. I want fun. Other than that, no notes on Ella. I think her costume's rad. I love that they're disgustingly in love. That's not changing. We're also going to keep the glass boots. Again, we are getting rid of the mismatched laces. There's no need to have mismatched laces on these boots. It sticks out like a sore thumb, buddy. And I'm going to say, we're changing Chloe's outfit. Okay? We're actually going to keep the last outfit that she stays in. Which, hilariously, I was sketching up what these characters could be wearing to have, like, visual aids for this. And I sketched this. And then I watched the movie again, and I realized, oh, this is... I just drew the exact outfit that she ended the movie in. So we're going to stick with that one. And this way, her boots are on top of her leggings, so we can see them the entire time. We are going to keep the little jacket, because I do like the V shape that it has in the back to mimic, like, armor. There's something very chivalrous about Chloe. She always wants to do the right thing. She always wants to stand up for the little guy. Again, she thinks that she's punk rock, and she's not. And so even though we have her in, like, this sporty little skirt with, like, leggings and boots and this jacket, that girl's still sparkly. She's still a princess. I love this idea of her having, like, an overskirt, not unlike what Olivia Rodrigo wears on tour. Because, again, you gotta keep in mind that where they're heading is the Oregon Prep opening ceremony. They're gonna dress up a little bit. They're gonna dress up a little nice. So let her be sparkly. Let my girl be sparkly. She's wearing her new glass boots. They're sparkly. They're new. They're shiny. She just wants to look good for her. She wants to make a good impression. You know? First impressions mean a lot. She wants to be charming. She wants to live up to the name, Chloe Charming. And then we swoop back to Wonderland, and we are going to keep this next scene with Red and Bridget with the baby's first decapitation. We are going to keep that. The difference now is that Red is wearing the inverse of what her, like, outfit again. So now the red outer layer and a black and white underlayer. I actually quite like the outfit that she does wear in this scene. I would just make the netting on the shirt instead of black and red, black and white, and then have the red jacket on top. Personally. Again, just always this, like, hidden self. This idea of, like, hidden self with Red and having her own identity, wearing her identity on the sleeve while fighting against what her mom wants her to be, but she can only be anything she's already... but she can only be what she's already known, you know? And that it's such an easy translation of, hey, yeah, her colors keep flipping. Why is that? You know, it's just so easy. And her mom can still say, like, why didn't you dress for court? Like, you're not dressed appropriately. Which, if you think about it, would sting more because she is trying to dress for her mom. She's wearing red. She's trying her best, but she's just trying her best the way that she knows how, and her mom is still not accepting of it. And I think that's something that a lot of older kids are gonna get. It might go not over younger kids, like they're still gonna see that, like, oh, well, she didn't dress up and that's why her mom is mad. But I think it's a canon event that when you're a teenager and your parents don't approve of you dressing exactly how you want the first few tries. And now with Miss Rita Ora, girl, no notes, you're killing it. I love that she's just embracing this, like, evil villainry. This is also my favorite dress, the one that she's wearing. This one, like, the black lace and the big shoulders and the ruffle on the skirt that kind of looks like a deck of, like, a stack of cards being fanned out. Like, I really like this outfit. And I love this idea that, like, the Queen of Hearts, she's formal. Bestie, she is high collar, long sleeves. She has this, like, nail gauntlet thing that she has, that I just think is cool. She is very put together all the time. And just to contrast Red in this more spunky mesh pants, skirt, layering outfits, you know, more modern versus more traditional. Again, very, very easy. I think the Queen of Hearts should always have, like, a high collar. One, to reference the original design of Alice in Wonderland, but two, just to contrast that her daughter doesn't. You know, it's easy visual cues. Also, I noticed that Queenie, she got teeth diamonds. Girl. Ugh, I love it. We saw the line, "It's better to be feared than loved." I think that's an important line for this movie. And this is such a small detail, I don't mean you to be nitpicking, but we're gonna have Maddox run in out of breath. He heard from across the castle that his friend, tutor, little sister, like, figure is about to be punished, and he's trying to get there as quickly as possible to save her because he knows what's in his hand. He sees that it's a letter from Oridon Prep. So he is booking it. And again, just with, you know, the relationship between Bridget and her mom, the moment where she says, go put on something more respectable, I think is just very important. And then our girl gets put on another outfit. What would the second outfit be? I don't know. I'm not good at putting together outfits. That's why I can't do D&D commissions. But, new outfit! I don't know. Hello? Why am I stuck? It's just something I thought was lacking in this movie. Was, like, the amount of, like, fun over-the-top outfits. We need more. So, every opportunity to get another outfit, I will take! You know, the only important thing is the red outer layer, black and white underlayer. And there's something I do want to point out. I mentioned at the very, very top of the video, I know it's been a long time, that I love the rose buns that our girls have. Queenie also has, like, a big rose bun on the back of her head. She has, like, the slick down look with the big bun and then the two little buns. I'm just canonizing that is part of their formal wear. Whenever they have formal events, they have to have the rose buns. Not important to this movie, or even to this video. I just want to point it out, because I think it's such a small detail that I just really loved. And I know, like, we're not changing a lot of the opening of the movie, and that's just because I think the opening of the movie is not that bad. Like, it's actually pretty solid. We're just changing a few aesthetics here and there to really reinforce theming that's going to show up later in the script. And again, I'm not making Queenie change out of that dress. She's staging her coup in her, like, pretty dress that I really like. But that's just me. But yeah, I still think the Queen still takes over like normal. Red still has her moral panic. We're still going to take a moment to reference the prank. We can call it a prank, we can call it tormenting. It's just going to be referenced here in this part of the film. You know, right after she takes her coup. And Ella stands up and the Queen is still holding a grudge against her best friend. We didn't even have her say something along the lines of, you were off with your prince while I was being tormented. Like, why are you standing up now? You didn't stand up then. Something along those lines. Ooh, sorry, I just read my own notes. I said, instead of mentioning being turned into a monster, we could change the phrasing to, you're the one who taught me to be cruel in the first place. Just really hammering home this idea of, like, we are a product of who we surround ourselves with. You did this to me. To mirror later on that Ella takes a lot of her influence from Bridget. Bridget is now blaming Ella for her influence. You see what I'm doing here? This exchange that's happening? But yeah, we still have Red being a sad little girl. I don't know if I like this yarn. I'm trying to make a rose. Hold on. We're gonna do a test roll. We're trying to make a blue rose, but I don't think that's working. And so the coup goes off without a hitch. She cuts the wand in half. She traps Uma at the exact same time, because again, that was really important that they get trapped at the exact same time, or else you're telling me Uma is not the badass that you're making her out to be the past two movies. Anyway, but now as Ella gets carted off, Chloe doesn't just yell, let her go. She draws her sword and she's pointing it at the queen, demanding, let her go, while trembling like a leaf. She is terrified, but she does it anyway. And seeing the sword is what causes Red to spring into action, because a sword is a threat. And whether she likes it or not, that is still her mom. And not only that, but she doesn't want to see anyone else get hurt. Red is a good person at the end of the day. She doesn't like that this is happening. And so the sword springs her into action. And without thinking, because again, she acts without thinking. She walks up to Chloe with her full chest and she just whacks the sword. Put that away, making Chloe drop it. And she gets in close, she gets in her personal space, she goes, don't do anything stupid. Which Chloe takes as a threat. And so she pushes her, Red grabs onto her arms, bam, they're gone. Neither of them knowing what the hell just happened. But Chloe's the one holding the watch. They grabbed onto each other, tussling back and forth. Chloe ends up with the watch. Where are we? What's going on? We still see Faye. Again, oh no, it's baby. But where are we? What's going on? It's a magic watch. What are you talking about? You're insane. No, we have to work together. They brought us back here for a reason. Give me the watch. No. How do I know you didn't steal this? Like, I need to save my mom. We're not doing this. You're not doing this alone. I need to make sure that you succeed. I work better alone. I don't care. I have the watch. And thus, the fight breaks out. We can still play Fight of Our Lives, still in the same spot, but the choreography is different. Now, Chloe starts off with the watch, and she takes off running, baby. But Red's faster. Red does parkour. Red is cutting her off left, right, and center. She is not letting her out of this courtyard. And Chloe very quickly realizes this. So what does she do? She decides to stay sword's length away. That's a safe enough distance that she can gauge without thinking about it, She's trying to keep a little bit of distance between them. And Red sees this, snaps the flagpole, and just takes it. To which Chloe says, that's not fair, that's cheating, you can't just break things. That's against the rules. I don't care. And she tries to not run through Chloe. That's what it sounded like I was gonna say, not run through Chloe. But if you remember in the original movie, you wouldn't, I didn't tell you, but the way Chloe gets the watch from Red is she takes her sword and she runs it through, like, the chain handle. She just sticks it through and, like, flings it. Red is doing that maneuver here, right? And so she tries to skewer it, and again, in the tussle, Chloe probably tries to grab, because it's a flagpole, it's not a sword. It gets flung, the watch still ends up on top of the gargoyle. And now, since Chloe doesn't have her sword for the 4th time, they have to work together! In a song about working together, who'd have guessed? Wow! Anyway, I don't need to be that sarcastic, oh my god. I do have this mental image where they both realize at the same time they have to work together, and they both immediately put their hands down to lift the other one. And as they're singing, there's just like this silent battle of, you put your foot up, no, you put your foot up. They're doing this to put your foot up to lift. You put your foot up, no, you! I'm helping! Just a silent battle between the two of them of who's gonna lift who. Neither really trusting the other to lift them, And it takes a few tries, but eventually Chloe lets Red lift her up. Why? I don't know. Chloe lets Red lift her up, and she's able to grab down the watch. And thus, our girls are teammates. I love the idea of Chloe formally putting her hand over her heart to accept, I accept your mission. I think that's really, really funny, because that's what you're supposed to do when you accept a mission as a knight. You pledge allegiance. And And she's a little awkward doing it. She's never done it before, but she knows she's supposed to. She knows the words. She knows she knows the words. She knows the cadence. She knows the physicality of it. It's a little awkward on her tongue. She's not good at it yet. And of course, I don't know where this would be, but somewhere in the middle of that, we are still keeping the forehead touch. You're gonna pry that forehead touch out of my cold, dead hands. We're keeping that forehead touch. God. What's that sound? Uh-oh. Why is the watch counting down? Stakes. That's why. This movie needs a sense of urgency. God. Anyway, they go on their merry way. They're keeping track, The watch is now a player in this. And we're going to keep Chloe as the history nerd, as well as they're walking around Oridon. Oh yes, it's not Oridon Prep. Originally it was Merlin Academy. Before the United States of Oridon happened. But instead of, I just love history. Instead of that reasoning, she knows it because she has good schooling. She went to a good school before this. And so when Red asks, how do you know all this? And Chloe says, it's taught in history, don't you remember? Red realizes, I might be more sheltered than I thought. I might not be as street smarts as I thought. Yikes. But still, they have a mission to do, so they go on their way. And so they still run into Merlin, and they still pretend to be exchange students, because while Chloe has a hard time lying, Red doesn't. She says the first thing that comes to mind, we're exchange students. Didn't you have paperwork? But the problem is Red isn't suave. She's not charming. But Chloe is. And Chloe is a teacher's pet. She knows all the right things to say. She's earnest. She compliments Merlin. She says how big of a fan of him she is. And that's why he doesn't question why he doesn't have the paperwork. Because she's a good kid. And good kids don't lie. Of course not. But they still go to class. And we still meet their parents. Again, Cinderella either has dark hair. Just saying. She can be blonde too, for all I care. I don't care. She just doesn't have blue hair, okay? Bridget still has pink hair. No notes for Bridget. I love Bridget. I love her outfit. I love her whole vibe. I love the pink. We're sticking with it. Wonderland is a bit of weird. This is me talking. This isn't in, my pitch. Wonderland is this weird space where it's like, are they villains or are they only villains because the Queen of Hearts was a villain? Were they considered villains beforehand? I'm gonna say that they were a neutral party beforehand. They weren't villains, but they were royals. But they're still a little weird. There's still a little xenophobia there because they live underground, and that's odd. And you can't trust anyone from Wonderland. There's a little bit of racism thrown in there as well. Why not? It's my movie. I did put this in, that maybe Ella already has a streak of blue in her hair, courtesy of Bridget, because that's her best friend. She doesn't want her best friend to feel like left out. Maybe Bridget keeps getting, this is just backstory, this wouldn't be shown, but maybe Bridget just keeps getting lumped in with, like, the bad kids who are mean to her, and because she has colored hair, the good kids don't want to be friends with her, but Ella still wants to be friends with her because she sees the good in her, and, to bridge that gap to show that, like, Bridget is cool. She puts a little blue streak in her hair. Again, tying back to the idea of unity and teamwork! Yay! Just, again, and it could be blue, it could be, like, baby blue. It could be anything. Who knows? It could even be pink for Bridget. Who knows? Not me. I just love this idea of her, like, standing in solidarity with her best friend, so she doesn't have to go through this alone. That's lovely. I love that. Also, I do adore that Ella's always kind of ready and willing to throw hands, to prove her point about royalists versus commoners. Not royalists. Royalty versus commoners. The only thing I'd want to change, or not even change, add, the girls, I don't think ever tell their moms their names, and so I feel like they would just lie about their names, and Red would go by Scarlet, and Chloe would go by Cindy, and there'd be a really awkward moment of Chloe getting elbowed by Red, Clindy? Cindy. Sorry, I coughed. And of course we still have Life is Sweeter, because I like this song, and it's cute, and we are going to keep the gelatin moment, just for the memes. And also for the forehead touch. And like I said, Maleficent, girly, you're just having horns. We're not wrapping it in hair. We do not need the hair-covered horns. She looks so cool already. Don't do that to her. There's no need. I think Uliana being mean to Bridget can also just kind of stay the same. Still stealing the flamingo feathers, still eating too many, just kind of being a menace. Also, Ella Ella stands up for Bridget, Chloe stands up for Ella. We love to see, like, this immediate girl bonding that happens, whether the girls in the past know it or not. I do love that just immediately happens. Also, Red is a VK. Whether Bridget is a VK or not, because I don't think she is in history, I don't think Bridget is a VK, but Red is. Red is a villain's kid. Her mom's the Heartless Queen of Hearts. She would absolutely snatch that tray out of Uliana's hands so fast. She does not care. And I think that would actually be... And I think if Red did snatch the tray, it's more reason for Uliana to be like, I just wanted the feathers, no need to be mean, and smash. Just like a mean girl catty. There's no need to be mean, takes the feathers and smashes the tray out of her hand. No. Let them be catty. And then also, now, Uliana's even madder. Again, layering on top of just embarrassment. We're gonna go one layer above. Yes, she's still embarrassed that she fell into the pond in front of everyone. Yes, she's embarrassed that she's embarrassed that she got turned into a flamingo. Yes, she's embarrassed that she, like, made this faux pas, you know? But on top of that, she's embarrassed that someone got in her space and she didn't do anything. Oh, she's mad now. It's more than just embarrassment, baby. Now there's a grudge. Like, how dare someone have the gall to snatch anything from her? Don't you know who I am? My father will hear about this. Or my sister, I should say. Sorry, it's midnight. I'm tired. Also, Maleficent and Hades are also staying the same, I will say. Again, we're just changing the horns to just be horns. Just let her have horns. I'm sorry. I just got a message that said, I'm clearly really on my period because I shed a few tears about how I'm not a puffin. Okay. But yeah, no, Maleficent and Hades are the king and queen of PDA, and that's not changing. Every scene they're in, they're leaning on each other. They're holding hands. She has her head on his shoulder. And he's got his arm around her. Oh, buddy. I want them to be two horn dogs, and no one is ever going to change my mind about that. And speaking of horn dogs, the next scene would be Ella and Charming interacting for the first time on screen for us, right? And I think that's gonna stay relatively the same. I think Charming is a menace to society. I think he has a huge crush on Ella. You know, that's not changing. But I also think that he might accidentally flirt, just in kind of in general, just in the act of being charming. People mistake him for flirting all the time, which is why Ella doesn't super want to give him the time of day. She doesn't really believe that he likes her. He's like that with everyone. Sure, he asked her, but doesn't mean he means it. He might just be asking her because she didn't want to go. A little bit more of that nihilism in her. And not only that, I think Bridget might have a bit of a crush on Charming. Nothing major, just the tiniest crush. Oh, I wish someone would look at me that way. A little bit more lingering on someone, you know? And maybe, on top of Ella not believing that he actually likes her, maybe that's why she's like, I'm not doing that to my friend. I'm not going to go out with you. My friend has a bit of a crush on you. You flirt with everyone. I don't believe that you actually like me. No, it's just not in the cards for us. It doesn't matter if I actually have feelings for you. And Ella's not dumb. She sees how Bridget looks at him, and when, you know, she declines Charming's invitation to the dance, she does feel a little bit bad that he didn't even look in Bridget's direction. And Bridget just wants to be included, and Ella wants her to feel included. And so Ella asks Bridget, hey, go to the dance with me. Let's go as friends. Precious. And I know I complained earlier about the awkwardness of the scene of Chloe and Red going into the next room to talk, to immediately go, oh, we should talk to Ella, who they were just talking to in the next room over. I know I did in fact complain about that. And I'm not changing my tune on that. I do think that is awkward pacing, but I do love the moment of characterization that it gives, in the sense of, I love Red touching everything, and Chloe having to run behind her and fix things that she's picking up and touching, and just kind of messing up for fun, you know? I think that's kind of fun. I just wanted to point that out. But still, we follow the pacing of our girls going to Ella's house after that. Chloe still being shocked about Ella's past, the fact that how could she never know that her mom grew up as a maid? You know, the most gracious and beautiful and fair queen in the United States of Oregon. How could that queen come from this society? You know? And I think Red would lead the conversation here. I think there would be a moment of, I just realized that I did this rose completely incorrectly. Oh well, it's still good practice. I think there would be an awkward moment of Chloe trying to lead the conversation, and you'll know, I got this. I know my mom. Like, just leave it to me. And for it not to go as planned, and for Red to be like, hey, I'm gonna take the lead on this. And after a few awkward fumbles from Chloe, not knowing how to talk to her mom, you know, Red kind of takes up the mantle. That being said, neither of them know how to hold a broom, and I'm not changing that. They do not know how to hold a broom. They're not smart. And we're still keeping, you know, the Chloe slipping with the glass shoes, the does it count of being a good person if you're rewarded for it, the, oh, you think Bridget is strong because she's nice, she's the strongest person I know. I've had to change my battery no less than 8 times. So if there are any awkward cuts, no, there's not. Okay? But yeah, so the scene for the most part is pretty similar, right? And I think the biggest change is when the vase breaks, Chloe is so happy to be able to contribute to the conversation. You know, like, again, she does feel bad for breaking the vase. She wants to help, she wants to do right, but it's just not working for our girl. It's just not. In kind of a way that Red jumped in and took the heat for Chloe for not knowing how to talk to her mom, Chloe tries to do that now, and she tries to take the heat for the vase. She tries to stand up to the evil stepmother 3 separate times. She continuously tries to step up to take the blame. It's her fault. To the point where she starts to get teary-eyed. She genuinely gets frustrated. She does not understand why her apologies aren't working. And she doesn't understand why Ella is getting in trouble for something that she did. She's not scared to get in trouble. No. She doesn't like things that are not fair, and this is not fair. You know, if anyone deserves to be in trouble, it's her, not Ella. And Lady Tremaine will not hear any of it. She does not care whatsoever. And we still have the same, that was so unfair. Life is unfair. I think it's time for you to leave moment. I think that is just still important. And I think that there could be a moment where as they're walking away, where Chloe is very clearly upset. You know, not only is, like, the glass starting to crack and she's realizing that the world isn't what she thought it was, but she's also having to come to terms with her mom suffering and her never knowing. She it's not just her world that is fracturing and is changing. The image that she has of her mom is changing, and she doesn't know how to deal with it. And, you know, as they're walking away, it's a silent moment. It's not a very long one, but as they're walking away, we see her hug herself as she tries to calm down. She still wants to put on a brave face. They still have a mission to do. But she's frustrated. And Red reaches out and she puts her hand on her shoulder. And there's just a moment of solidarity between our 2 girls. You know, they lead into each other, that they might be a little in over their head, but they're trying their best anyway, and they have each other. You know, teamwork, empathy, leaning on one another. And I think that would be one of the first moments where the ice breaks between the 2 of them, finally. Because Red knows what it's like to feel like you don't understand who your mom is as a person. She knows that feeling because she doesn't know who her mom is. She knows her as, like, this evil queen, but not as her mom, really. Just this persona of her. And man, all that can be conveyed with a simple hand on the shoulder, a simple lean, a simple we don't even have to see her cry, we just see her, you know, she covers her face, she dabs at her eyes, and Red is there to offer a shoulder to lean on. Simple. And our girls, they still leave. They go to the Black Lagoon. We're keeping the voguing villains for revenge, for the revenge song. They're still gonna vogue their hearts out. And it absolutely does not help with the homophobic theory that gay people are villains, but that's another topic for another day. But I am obsessed with the voguing, so it's staying. And now, they still have their dance number, they still have their song, and now it's a little bit different. How about instead of a cupcake that will turn her into a monster, it's a cupcake that will break her heart? Now, how does that work? It's kind of the opposite of rose-tinted glasses, where when you're in love, everything looks lovely and wonderful. But now, she eats the cupcake, and everything looks 10 times worse. It will amplify all those little voices in her head, every insecurity she has, every negative thought she has. It'll amplify it. She's no longer going to be hopeful. She's not going to try to be our friend anymore. She's finally going to understand that no one wants her. We don't want to be friends with her. You made me look like a fool. Now you get to see what a fool you really are. And you finally realize no one actually likes you, buddy. Heartbreak, my guy. Heartbreak. Ugh. And how are they going to do this? Well, oh, Betty, we're doing a bait and switch, okay? Because at the dance, the plan currently is at the dance, Morgie now has a role to play. He is going to, start flirting her up. He's going to ask her to dance. He might even ask her to the dance, which she might say no, and that's totally fine. He's going to ask, she's going to say, no, I'm going with someone else, so sorry, it's okay, well, maybe I can see you there. Will you save a dance for me? Give her something to look forward to. Get her hopes up. Or to break them. And now the girls run back. They have their dorm scene of where they figure out what are they going to do. And Red mentions, hey, my mom, you saw her. She staged a whole coup against the kingdom. She's powerful. She has powerful magic. And I can't imagine with her first broken heart what damage she's going to cause. She's a rose growing her thorns for the first time. And of course, the girls the next day still go to ask about the Sorcerer's Cookbook, because again, this is still a cupcake from the Sorcerer's Cookbook. They go to ask Bridget if she's seen it. She says, not really. But while you're here, can I get your opinion on something? And we get to have a dress montage! We're playing the Shuffle of Love, and we get to have a dress montage with Bridget, Chloe, and Red, and they get to have their little mother-daughter bonding moment. Maybe Red is allowed to pick out a dress that she wouldn't normally be allowed to wear, and she's a little insecure about it, and she talks about how her mom always tries to crush her individuality, and again, Chloe could just be in the background twirling in a dress for all I care, and Bridget, can say, if I was your mom, I would love to have a daughter who thinks for herself and who wants to express herself. Look at my room, everything is crazy and loud and colorful, everyone deserves to be colorful. Everyone should be allowed to be who they are, type talk. It opens up the door for Bridget to get a little vulnerable, she gets to be a little bit vulnerable about wanting to be loved. Because she's all about love, she has it in spades! Not only that, but, now we also get to see how much Ella means to Bridget. And because of their friendship, she now has more bravery. She's still not that brave, but she has more bravery to speak up for herself. Ella's always kind of defending her. She's always there to jump into the fight for her. And because of that, she's so brave. She's so strong. I want to be brave like her. I've started standing up for myself a bit more, but I'm still learning how. Maybe she also confides that maybe she finds Charming a little cute. Maybe Charming ain't all that bad. She doesn't need to outright say that she's jealous that he has a crush on Ella. And if anything, I think it'd be better if it was more open to her interpretation. Not really stating, who is she jealous of? Is she jealous that Charming likes Ella? Is she jealous that Ella likes Charming and, she doesn't want to share her best friend? Or is she jealous that Ella's getting the love that she wants to have? These are the complex feelings that kids have, and they have to kind of learn to deal with. Personally, I think it's a really common thing that kids go through of learning to untangle this web of emotions of, why am I jealous that my best friend has other friends? Am I jealous that there's a guy that she's interested in that's interested in her when I think he should be interested in me, or the fact that a guy is interested in her, period? Or am I jealous that he might take up some of her time? Or am I just secretly in love with my best friend? All good questions, all wonderful questions that we all have to figure out individually. And I think this would be a good way to show it, really. And this could also be a fun moment where Red and Bridget get to bond over card tricks. Because again, I think Red would be great at sleight of hand. I think she'd be great at the little flippy flips. Because her mom made sure of it. It was part of her schooling. Because her mom wants her to be just like her. You know, maybe she didn't bring a deck of cards. Maybe she doesn't carry around a deck of cards like her mom intentionally. But Bridget has a spare deck that she could part with. Scarlett has a natural talent for sleight of hand. So maybe Bridget is like, hey, you're really good at this. Do you want my spare deck? I don't need it. I hardly ever use it. And, well, you have a natural gift. And not only that, but we can still have the line, if I was your mom, I would love to have a daughter. I'd love to have a daughter who thinks for herself. We can even tack on, it's something I'm still working on. Really ground home that we are just a product of the people who love us. And we can even tie this back to the relationship between Ella and Bridget and how they give each other strength. How Bridget is learning to be brave, learning to stand up for herself since meeting Ella. And how Ella is being reminded that strength doesn't always have to be loud. Strength can be quiet. There is strength in love and gentleness. Theming, ladies and gents and everything between, theming. And we can even bring in Bridget telling Red that love is the best feeling in the world, tying back to love ain't it. Love ain't it. How would I know if I haven't felt it yet? And Bridget can say Ella, because Ella loves me, and Ella makes me feel like I can do anything. That's my best friend. I love her. Because love is more than just romance. Love is also platonic. And friend breakups can be worse than any romantic breakups that you ever have. And so if the love that Ella and I share is this good, what could it be when I finally meet my true love? What could it be? Is it a little gay? Yes. And what? And then after this, as their other girls are walking back to their dorm, the Starlight dorm, I think is what they're called, they're walking back to the dorm and they get into their third act breakup. They get into a fight. Red is now more determined than ever to break into Merlin's office to make sure her mother does not have her heart broken. Red says that they should still break into Merlin's office while he's setting up for Castle Coming. While everyone's distracted, while everyone's getting ready, they can break in and steal the cookbook. Chloe is of the mind that instead of breaking in and stealing, that they should just go to Castle Coming, stay next to Uliana, stay next to Bridget, be by her side, and stand with her and be ready to defend her should anything happen. Red thinks they have to be on the offense. Chloe thinks they have to be on the defense. And neither of them are right in this situation. And Red is now more determined than ever to make sure her mother does not get her heart broken. Because now it's more than just her mom. Now it's the girl who her mom was. The person who's now her friend. And Chloe, after this, needs to go talk to her mom. Not only is she sad and missing her and seeing Red and Bridget kind of have a moment make her feel bad for how they left things, you know, being in the fight from Act 1 or Act 2. But she's always been taught to stand firm in her ground. You know, Cinderellasburg has a great homeland security, but they don't wage war. She doesn't know how to do that. And her world just keeps falling apart. And so she wants to go talk to her mom. She wants to apologize. She wants to make things right. She wants to ask for advice, like any good kid would. You know, and then her and her mom, they still talk. They still sing the song, Get Your Hands Dirty. Ella still tells Chloe, you know, bad people don't think that they're bad. Trust me, I would know. And not only is Get Your Hands Dirty them cleaning up the garden, I think the first half is them cleaning up the garden. I think the second half is Chloe breaking out Ella from being grounded to take her to Castle Coming. And Ella, not being ready for it, goes, okay, cool, let's go. She grabs her mother's dress, she puts it in her bag, and they sneak out and they go to Bridget's dorm to go get ready with their friends. And when they get there, all the girlies are getting ready. You know, Red is there helping Bridget. Faye is there. We can have Jasmine there, fine. And all the girlies are getting ready. Ella pulls out her dress, and it's ruined. It is ripped, it is torn, there's ink spilled on it. And she knows it was her stepsister's. And she's heartbroken. She is so sad. And Bridget is there. She's ready and willing to skip Castle Coming altogether. She's like, I might have a dress that you can wear. It will be pink if you don't mind. But Faye is there, and she is ready and willing to help. Unfortunately, Ella does not trust Faye as far as she can throw her. So, what does Faye have to do? She has to practice on our girls, of course. Red and Chloe both raise their hands. You can practice on us. They don't want to risk ruining Ella's, sentimental, important dress more than it's already ruined. But they don't trust Faye. So she gets a couple practice rounds in. Maybe she even practices on Bridget. Maybe I drew up designs of what their dresses might look like. Who knows? Not me. And thus, Ella gets her big Cinderella moment, and now all of our girlies have dresses that reflect who they are on the inside. I think Red would have a beautiful rose-themed red dress with, a black netting over it, like a mesh. Slightly more modern. The younger girls have more of a modern twist to them, and then the older girls have a more, not 80s, but they have, an older vibe to them. You know what I mean? I think that's kind of fun. Chloe has, a dark blue dress covered in sparkles, because she's a diamond. Anyway, the aesthetic of princesses, specifically, is so important to their story and to who they are, and to their iconography, and to their image, and what it tells us about their insides, which is why I think about this so much, and why I'm, harping on what their outfits are supposed to be. And not just for princesses, especially princesses, especially, Disney princesses, but, characters in general. The aesthetics should be important. Because think about it. The way that we dress is a reflection of our insides, whether intentional or not, baby. How we present ourselves is so important to the world. Why shouldn't it be important for characters? Anyway, that was a baby soapbox. I'm so sorry. I can't get over that. I still can't get over that Chloe freaking changed in the middle of the climax with no explanation. Oh my god. I can't get over that. Anyway, our girls are all pretty and they're ready to go to the dance. Now, this climax is going to run a little bit differently. I think the girls get ready, and they get ready to go down to Castle Coming, and Red tells them, go on without me. I'll see you guys in there. I just forgot something in my dorm. I just need to go grab something. It's really important. I'll be right back. And Chloe sends the other girl off without her, and she stands behind Red, and she's like, I'll go with you. Don't worry about it. That's what friends do. They don't leave each other behind. And our girls go and do a quick heist. And I think this is a really good chance to reflect on the first fight that they had, where they're really out of sync, that no one can decide who's taking what lead. They're very offbeat versus now, oh, buddy, they're in rhythm together. They're moving in sync. They don't even have to talk to know who's lifting who up to reach the book. Again, they could have just gotten on the ladder, but we need some flair in here. And they work together, and they get the book, and it's quick, and it's easy. But then the owls come out, and then they're outnumbered, and then they're like, we're in dresses. Crap! And that's okay. They are allowed to fail here. They should fail getting this first book. And while they are flat on their butts, the villains come in, and they take the book. And Red is doing a quick head count. And she realizes, where's Morgie? Why is he not here? Well, the camera cuts back to Castle Coming, and Morgie's chatting up Bridget. Ugh. And in that moment, Red's heart sinks. Oh no, they are too late. The villains already have their plan in action. And now it's Red's turn to be a little defeated, and a little pessimistic, and a little, it's not fair. It's just not fair. We did everything right, and it didn't work out. And now it's Chloe's turn to have the rousing speech of life isn't fair. We just have to take the punches as they come. Let's go. We gotta run. And they run after the villains. And we're gonna play it a little with time here, because cooking cupcakes is gonna take a minute. We're just gonna say it's a spell. It's a spell to charm an already cooked cupcake. You know what I mean? Maybe it's something you drizzle in the frosting. Semantics. Anyway, but as they run, they get to Castle Coming. It's already started. And we get to see Ella and Charming fall in love. And I like to think that as we come into the gym, the main hall, wherever this is being held, we come in right on the same note, the same line that we ended when we saw Ella and Charming at the beginning of the movie, where they did their little acapella, So This Is Love, by themselves in the front yard. We pick up on that same bar here. They are already in the center, and he is swirling her around, and oh my god, the look of love that they give one another. Ugh, young love. And there's a moment where the girls are like, oh, it's happening. Oh, look at them. Wow, shit. We have to go over there. Morgie's talking to Bridget. But because the crowd is cleared and Ella and Charming are having their moment in the middle, our girls are just trying to wedge themselves in between people as they go around. And unfortunately, Uliana has a head start, and she went the other way, and she's already there, and she's already charming a cupcake. And this is so silly and so stylized, but I love this idea of Charming and... This is the theater nerd coming out in me. We have this move in slow motion where, from Charming and Ella's point of view, the world is moving slowly because it's just the two of them and they're falling in love for the first time. But from Red's point of view, the world is moving slowly because she is panicking and is falling apart and she can see her mother's heart breaking in front of her. Everything is moving way too slowly for both of them for different reasons. That's fun. That's money right there. And yeah, it's too late. Bridget is so excited for a guy to be paying attention to her. She's so excited. Maybe it's her turn to fall in love. She just saw her best friend do it. Maybe it's her turn, you know? And now Liana's being nice to her. You know, maybe there is magic. And without thinking, she takes a bite of the cupcake. And Morgie knows his cue. And he walks out to the center of the dance floor, you know. Ella and Charming are gone, or maybe they've spun off to a different part of the dance floor. And Morgie gets out into the spotlight, and he sticks his hand out for Bridget. And there's this moment of swelling where she goes, oh, it is my moment. And she goes to stick her hand out to greet him, to match him. And Uliana steps in and takes his hand. And he spins her onto the dance floor. And he starts dancing with her. And Uliana is absolutely going to say something really mean. And he pulls her onto the dance floor. And in a brief, just an over-the-shoulder moment, Uliana goes, oh, did you think he was trying to dance with you? Oh, honey, why would anyone want to dance with you? As if anyone could ever love you. And they spin away. And is this mean? Yes, but this woman decapitates people for fun. And Bridget, our girl, oh my god, our poor girl. Oh, you just see it on her face. Her heart just breaks. And the lighting goes dark. And very slowly, she might start to hyperventilate. She's curling in on herself. And just from her roots, you can see her hair going dark. And her eyes go dark. And you can feel her heart break. The hope is just gone. Because who could ever love her? The one person who did now has someone to love her. She doesn't need her anymore. Oh no, she's alone. Oh. Maybe love ain't it. And her eyes start to darken, and her hair starts to darken, and she just starts to panic, and her breathing gets heavier, and she doesn't know what to do because she's always been able to stay hopeful before, but she can't now. She can't now. And, of course, Ella can't get to her. And we see it's because Hook, Maleficent, and Hades have gotten in the way, and they're making it hard, and with the music and everything, she can't hear Bridget. And she's trying to talk to her, she's trying to get to her, and she can't. But from Bridget's point of view, it just looks like Ella's watching from across the room, still arm in arm with her new boyfriend. And Bridget's never felt more alone. But oh no, our girls get there. Red and Chloe and Faye and Jasmine, and they're all there next to her all of a sudden. And they have their hands on her, and they're pulling her up, they're pulling her into a hug. And Chloe finally gets the duel that she's been wanting this entire time. Oh, buddy, she grabs a sword from the nearest prince. She does not care. She is stealing whatever she can. She's like, absolutely not. And she lifts her hand and there's no tremble. Absolutely not. This is her moment. Ah! Because this is her friend. She is defending her friend. She's breaking rules left, right, and center. And not just the no stealing rule, but also the no weapons rule, which we probably heard in Act 1. Maybe Merlin chastised someone else, I don't know. But this is her moment. And the threat of her drawing her sword, just like it did in the beginning of the movie, springs the villains into action. A sword means danger. A sword means a duel is happening. And because of the shock, because they know, I have to do something now, that is when Ella is finally able to break away from being held back by Hades and Maleficent and someone else. And she's able to finally get to her friend. And now, Bridget's not alone anymore. And I also think Charming would jump in with Chloe. Let them have a little moment. Why not? Let him be chivalrous. He's charming. He's chivalrous. This is who he is. He's a prince, and he's gonna be princely. Because he saw what happened, and that's his new girlfriend's best friend. That's his new girlfriend's best friend. That's his best friend now. Absolutely not. You're not besmirching her honor. Not in this ballroom. Absolutely not. And we close in on Red and Bridget, and they're huddled, with their friends around them, and it's just them in this little bubble of safety. And Red gets to tell her, hey, you are loved. Look at everyone here who loves you. Ella loves you. I love you. Your friends love you. Love is the most powerful thing in the world. It's the best feeling in the world. Parroting back what Bridget told her in her dorm room just yesterday. Love is it. And slowly we can see the darkness kind of creep back up into her, and her eyes clear. And she's still sad, for sure. She's not fixed. She's still sad. And she's crying. But she opens her arms. And she lets love in. And then she hugs her, unbeknownst to her daughter and her best friend. And Ella is right there, hugging her as tight as she can, telling her, do not listen to them. They are cruel, they are evil, and they are so mean. God damn it, my camera died again. And Ella's there, and she's holding her best friend, and she probably has a smart quip to yell over her shoulder to the VKs, but they're not important to her right now. What's important is making sure her best friend feels safe. That's what's important. Making sure her best friend feels heard. And of course, this is when Merlin decides to show up. And absolutely in the background, Chloe, Charming, and the villain, they're having some sort of battle. I think it'd be really, really funny if we just kind of see sparks of magic sparking off the swords. We can even cut in between the two, let's have Chloe have her moment with her sword fighting that we saw at the very beginning. She knows how to duel. This is what she was built for. And now she's learned to be a little bit sneaky. And so now, she's extra good. Yeah. But of course, Merlin finally shows up. He had ran off originally to go look in his office because the owls were going off, and he's like, oh, I have to go check on the owls, and there's only one teacher here. So he goes and he comes back, and with a flourish, he freezes the VKs. And in the chaos, he's like, what is going on? Who did this? Who did what? And in the chaos, our girls, Chloe and Red, take off running. They don't even wait. They're like, later. They dip. And of course, maybe they had a bit of help with Charming immediately putting his sword away. He runs up to Merlin. I'll tell you what happened. Listen to me. Look at me over here. Don't look at them. Look at me. Look how charming I am. And our girls run off. And, they go outside. And they're checking the watch. It's still ticking down. And they're like, there's nothing else we can do. We did everything we can. And they look in the window. And Ella and Bridget are dancing together. All they can do is look in the window and hope that they did enough. And maybe they did. Hopefully they did. They seem happy. Bridget and Ella are dancing together. And not just them, but also the girly squad. And Charming is there because now he's glued to Ella at the hip, whether she likes it or not. Aladdin's also there because he's also glued to Jasmine's hip, whether we like it or not. And our girls, they hold the clock together and they look down and they have no choice but to watch it strike down to midnight. Time's up. They did everything they can. Now they just have to hope and pray that it was enough. That they did enough to save their future. And thus we enter into the last scene of the movie, where our girls, they have to sneak back into the welcome ceremony. We can even bend the rules. The watch can take away the dresses, turning it back into their normal clothes. Maybe even instead of borrowing dresses from Bridget. I don't know if I said that. In my original script, they borrow dresses from Bridget that then get transformed. Instead of that, they could have just transformed their regular clothes, you know? But the magic wears off now that they're back into the regular clothes. They have to sneak back in to the welcome ceremony. And we still have that same, you know, Queenie stands up and she has the slow turnaround. She is still in the amazing formal gown that I absolutely love. But before, where the layers were black and red only, now she turns and there's a mix of black, pink, and red. It's brighter. It's brighter and it's fun. And there's, instead of just the rose motif, there's roses and hearts and spades. Because she has love and spades! Ah! And sure, her hair is no longer pastel pink. You know, maybe it's a darker shade of fuchsia. Because she still did age. She still got her heart broken eventually. Everyone does. But it never turns red because she never lets go of love and hope and holding on to that inner strength. And she still gets to say, I'm playing my favorite game, hearts. And then the hearts bubble come up and we still have a reprise of, you know, life is sweeter when you are. And the movie can still end with the same, oh, what a sweet happy ending. Everyone got what they wanted. But getting what you want can be dangerous, especially when you mess with the fabric of time. You didn't think that was the end of the story, did you? And then the next movie, they can learn, why is Wonderland still closed off from the rest of the world if the Queen of Hearts never showed up? What happened? And it's not because of Bridget, it's because of Red. Dun, dun, dun. Scene. So what do you guys think? It's now 1:30 in the morning, so be nice to me. But yeah, what do you guys think? Better? Worse? Somehow worse, but in a new way? Tell me your thoughts down below. And, I know, and I am sure that it's not perfect. I'm sure it could be even a cleaner, tighter story. But I'm also just one girlie in her room doing this for free. Not a full staffed writing room of people on Disney's payroll. You know what I mean? So, there's some grace to it not being as tight of a story. And I'm sure I missed things. I'm sure I messed things up. If we were to, script this out, I probably would have gone over by, 30 minutes. Probably would have been closer to a 2-hour-long movie instead of, that neat 1:30 that it is. But I'm so proud of it anyway, personally. So, let me know what you guys think. What are changes that you would have made? How would you have written this? And again, this is all in good fun. I don't think I wrote a better movie than the original. Period. I don't think that that's the case. It was just a fun little writing exercise. Playing in Disney Sandbox is all. And even though I don't think that the movie was particularly good, I did still enjoy it. Because if I didn't enjoy it, we wouldn't be here. So keep that in mind as you write your comments, okay? Honestly, I'm excited to see the next one. I'm excited to see where the story goes. I'm excited to see this cast back to play these same roles. I don't know. I'm hyped. I'm here for the ride. What can I say? And like I said,
3 hours, 17 minutes, and 11 seconds
ago, this is a bit of a departure from my usual content. Like this? Is something you never want me to do again? Is there another movie that you want the story archaeologist to dig up? Let me know. Put it down below. We're here for a good time, guys. And if you're curious how my crocheting went, like I said, I messed this up, and I skipped an entire row in the pattern, but I'll show you anyway. I made a blue rose. It's kind of dark. You can't super see it. It's supposed to be, like this. But, yeah, I missed a complete row in the pattern, so it's not nearly tall enough, so it's just short. But it was supposed to be blue for Chloe. Ta-da! Okay, bye. See you next time. Oh my god, I'm done. Yeah. Boba. Boba. I can't order on my phone. You need to give me your phone.